the gang called GYPSY.
Gang and they come and get GYPSY. Gang and they come and get GYPSY. Gang. I met a GYPSY. Gang. I met a GYPSY.
So yeah, these mics work like you want to bring them like pretty much sort of.
Yep, like that.
Yeah, right on your shit.
It's weird hearing myself. I hate my voice.
Why is that?
I don't know. I just think I sound whiny.
I feel like that's everybody hates their voice.
Yeah.
Renee Gracie, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you coming.
That's right. Yeah, it's interesting to be a part of a podcast, and yeah, actually was thinking about what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, what do you think we're going to talk about?
I don't know. I don't think I'm that interesting.
Yeah, you said that in one of your emails, but
Yeah.
you've got definitely some interesting shit going on at the moment. So.
Yeah, I feel like my whole life's just been interesting shit.
Yeah, since when?
Since I started go-karting.
Yeah, right.
I always seem to attract attention and have stuff going on, but yeah, I think it's just like normal for me now. But yeah, everyone's sort of always interested in what I'm doing.
Yeah, so I can't remember where I come across you the first time. I definitely knew of you when you were racing supercars, but I was living in America when you were racing supercars, so I didn't really see a lot of that stuff. But then I guess more recently with the whole OnlyFans thing, you've come back into like the sort of media.
Yeah,
world,
everyone's taken on the OnlyFans thing. I think everyone's talking about it and knows someone who's doing it. It seems to be pretty popular at the moment. I think I got in at the right time.
Yeah, well, I just saw that yesterday or the day before, Bella Thorne made like $2 million in 24 hours, but it was like a scam essentially.
Yeah, so she apparently, I don't know much about it, but like heaps of people are like, what do you think? And I'm like, well, it hasn't affected me, so I don't really care. But apparently she said something that she sent out a photo for like $200 saying that she was naked and she wasn't. Yeah. And then everyone just went straight to OnlyFans, because OnlyFans have a really good like contact and support system. So everyone just basically clicked through straight to contact us, and everyone sent emails basically saying they wanted their money back. So OnlyFans freaked out, and then they changed all of their like payout and so what she did is called a PPV, or pay per view.
Yeah.
So you send a picture and you have to pay to unlock it and to view it. So that's basically how I make most of my money, is doing PPVs. So she sent it, and the little description down the bottom was $200, and it said like, unlock to see me naked sort of thing. And yeah, she wasn't naked. So OnlyFans changed their maximum PPV
to $50.
To $50,
right?
yeah. So then everyone's losing it, because apparently some girls send like long videos and actual like videos and stuff, which are legitimate and probably do cost $200, but now they can only send it for $50. So yeah, everyone's gone crazy about it, and they changed the payout. So
it went from weekly to monthly, right?
Yeah, so it was actually daily. So you got to be on there for a week, and then after you're there for a week, it pays. So pretty much like if I started this week, I got paid today. In 7 days' time, I'd get paid for today, and then tomorrow I'd get paid the next day after. So it's every 7 days, but once you're on for a week, it's actually daily.
Yeah, right.
And now it's going to be monthly. So, which sort of sucks when you think about some girls who are living like week to week and probably doing it to come by. All of a sudden, their pay is going from weekly to monthly. So, and being in a time like this, they probably weren't really prepared for that, because they just changed it overnight, sort of thing. So, I mean, it's not straight away, because obviously we're still getting paid out for what happened last week, but eventually, like, the money will stop coming, and it'll affect a lot of people. I think a lot of people are pissed off with OnlyFans too. I know so many girls who have jumped ship and gone to other places. So
yeah, right.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's hard. I mean, OnlyFans is like Instagram and Facebook now, I think.
That's the problem, man. Like, you get any big business, like what was the business that I was thinking about? Yes. Oh yeah, one of our sponsors, they've just gone from being like a small company to now they've got like 150 employees, and with that comes like HR department, and like
huge.
You've just got shit that you've got to deal with. So there's just like only so big that you can get before you have to start dealing with bullshit.
Yeah, and what OnlyFans is because it is content, and it is, even if it's not like nudes and stuff, like it is, whether someone's selling like a personal training program or a chef's on there selling recipes, like it's content and it's things that you're selling. So then there's all sorts of complications with that, like content and all that sort of stuff, where it goes, who gets a hold of it, if people keep resharing it and all that sort of stuff. So I think that's probably why a lot of people haven't been able to like redo OnlyFans, because there's only so much you can do with that sort of platform. And I think OnlyFans just have the name now and they've just got it. But yeah, I do feel sorry for them, because it's like, what do? You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, sort of thing.
Well, it's the same. So like, obviously I'm in the content game as well, but it's just different platforms.
Yep.
It's all the same shit.
Yep.
And I think that people maybe have like a bit of a preconceived notion about, oh, it's OnlyFans, it's porn, it's whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still a platform.
Yep.
It's still content. You still get paid. I get paid off YouTube every single month.
Yep.
So it's all the same
It's
shit.
all the same stuff. Yeah, YouTube are doing a paid thing now. I got an email
really?
from YouTube, because I have my own channel there, and
Yeah.
they emailed me and they were like, make more money from your subscribers. And so they're doing like paid
Yeah.
things now. So I'm
Yeah.
like copying off OnlyFans.
Yeah, well, so they do like a premium, like you can subscribe to the channel.
Yeah.
And then I think you can put like private content into the channel.
Yeah.
But I wonder if the same community guidelines would apply in terms of like nudity
Yeah,
and shit
because
like
YouTube's
that.
pretty strict.
Dude,
with
it's
stuff,
so
yeah.
strict. We get
It's like
pulled down
Facebook.
when we do live streams. If we swear
Yeah,
in the
wow.
first 20 minutes, the live stream goes down.
That's
And there's
crazy.
no like monetization on it.
Yeah, it's insane. It's hard to think, like, I'm learning all of this with all the platforms. Like, I'm not a very social media person, even though,
Yeah.
like, I've got a following. Like, I literally, like, if I could lose it tomorrow, it wouldn't bother me.
Yeah.
I hate it. And learning all this stuff, like, so I've just recently discovered that Twitter is completely unfiltered.
Yeah.
And, like...
You can post porn on
Yeah,
Twitter too,
literally.
yeah.
And it's like, I started a Twitter account and people, like, sending me all this stuff. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm like, I don't want to see your dick. What's going on? And I'm like, how's this person posting this on their page? And then my sister messaged me and she's like, yeah, like you can post whatever you want on Twitter. I'm like, what on earth? And it's like, was a shock to the system because of the stuff that I was seeing and getting sent. But I'm like, how do you hear on the news that like Donald Trump gets like a tweet removed, but like there's this on there? Like, it doesn't even make sense. And then you've got like Facebook and YouTube, which is so strict, and then Instagram, which is like semi-strict if people report stuff. So it's like, it's to get your head around all the platforms. There's a lot. And then there's OnlyFans where you can post whatever you want and do whatever you want as long as people pay you for it.
Yeah. It's such a bizarre world now.
Yep, that's it.
When it
Yeah.
comes down to, even like one of the things that I kind of always think about is just like, you've got like this idea of yourself in terms of like us physically in the room, and then there's like this digital self where like we've both got this version of ourselves in our phone. Like,
Yep.
you probably wouldn't want me having your phone.
No, I
And-
don't want anyone having my phone.
and I wouldn't want you having my phone, you know?
Yeah.
So there's definitely this, like, that's essentially like this other self.
Yeah.
So there's just like these, it's fucking weird. And I
Yeah.
just don't know that in
I
our
actually-
heads we've caught up to that shit yet.
I actually go out of my way to make sure that like my digital self is completely different to like me.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people like trip on that when they like messaging me on like my Instagram or they see my Instagram. It's like, I don't know if a lot of people, other people do it. I feel like maybe, I know some people do it, but like for me, I think when I raced and stuff, like my whole racing, like I had to put on this persona that I was like happy and like, you know, whatever, and like loved what I was doing. But deep down I was like having a mental breakdown in the truck because I was over it. But like you sort of like have to put on this brave face, and then like my real life I'm just like, you know, I don't want to bother. I like, fuck this, I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
So it's like ever since I finished racing I've sort of continued on like having a persona like my Instagram and stuff. And it's so funny when people meet me, they're like, I didn't think that you were going to be like this. And I'm like, what did you think I was going to be like? And they're like, oh, you're nothing like your social media. And I'm like, well, yeah, because it's all fake.
I feel like, though, I've known enough people in your position to know pretty well that no one's really the same as the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The person that they actually are.
Yeah, but
in
so
terms
many
of when
people
you
think
meet.
people are. So many people think that like their Instagram is reality, but it's so far from the truth. It's not funny.
Well, that's why I think those platforms are so successful, because they prey on people's naivety.
Yeah.
That it's like, oh, this is that person. It's like, but you're the person that you would be to me right now over the next 3 hours. Like, there's a different version of you going on inside your head as well.
Yeah.
So we've got like this version that goes on in our head that only we know, and then we've got the physical person that like your friends and your family and people that you meet get to know, and then we've then got this digital self which you can make any way you want. It's like there's
Yeah.
some fucking weird levels
Yeah.
that are going on here,
Yeah,
and
I
it just
know.
gets like deeper and deeper. And
Yeah, it can keep going. Yeah, I know. I kind of like being different across everything.
yeah, it keeps shit
I know.
interesting.
Yeah, it keeps it interesting. I don't know. Maybe people think it's like two-faced or something, but I love being like completely different. Like on my Instagram, like my social medias, like I just like to be like controversial and like different and like not really care because, and I mean, most people think like, oh, I'm not going to post this photo because they care about what people think. And I'm like, I'm going to post this photo because I know people are going to say something. So I'm like the opposite. I like almost post things to like get attention and know that someone's going to say something or like someone's going to get upset by what I say, but it's just like, for me, it's just fun, and I literally just sit there, read the comments and just laugh.
Yeah, so it's just like that provocateur mentality almost.
Yeah, I get entertainment out of it. I mean, if you're going to have social media, like, you can't take it too seriously, I think.
Yeah, and so you said that if you could give away following, you would. So like, what's the thinking behind that?
Yeah, like, I don't really, a lot of people are so
like tied to it.
Yeah, like so tied to it. So for me, like, probably recently I've become a lot more like dependent on it, and obviously now that I've got the following, I realize the only thing that benefited me is that I can like make money and stuff out of it now. But up until then, like, I wasn't making any money out of it, so I didn't really care. Like, I was like, if I lose this tomorrow, like, my life wouldn't be over. And that's the thing, like, my Instagram, a lot of people think that my life is like on Instagram. Like, I've got so much going on outside of Instagram. Like, if I lost Instagram tomorrow, like, my life, like, I'd be fine. Like, I wouldn't really care if I lost Facebook. I mean, I need OnlyFans because that's how I make my money. But I mean, for me, like, if I could lose it all tomorrow, it wouldn't really bother me. I'd just find something else to do.
And that's OnlyFans and everything.
Yeah, like, I'd probably find something else. Like, if you think about all the stuff that I've done, like racing, and I always find stuff. Like, I always find something that I want to do and I can make it work, sort of thing. So I'm not really like, I'm someone who like wings it in life, very much so. So I mean, like, if it all ended tomorrow, I'm pretty sure in a year or so time I'd be doing something else.
Yeah. Have you always been like that, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, from when I was like quite young, like, I've done everything. I've tried everything, like, just even in school, sports, like, just when I was a little kid, like, I just gave everything a go. That's why I got into racing, because I was sort of like, oh, okay, well, I'll give it a go. Like, and then everyone kept telling me I was good at it. I was like, well, I'll keep doing it then. So yeah, I'm someone who just, I'll try anything and do anything. And if I'm like it and sort of kind of good at it, I'll just keep going until I get over it.
So the weird thing there is that, like, you mentally quite broad and very, like, just sort of open to whatever.
Yeah.
But then in like a physical sense, you've sort of got a certain look that it seems like you're sort of trying to get to that would be like the opposite of that. Like, there's not a lot of variety in it, if that makes sense. Yeah, I'm very plain Jane. Like, I don't like changing my look or anything. I think just because I'm like happy with how I am. But even like with like my Instagram, I just have the same sort of style and same sort of thing, but that's only because I don't think I really care about it that much. Like, I'm not overly creative, but like trying things like physically going out, doing something, new jobs, like challenges and stuff like that, like I'll do it. But as for other stuff, I think maybe sometimes I'm happy to get outside of my comfort zone, but then there's other things that I know I'm just comfortable doing, so I just won't change it, sort of thing. So yeah, but I think I do have a broad, that's why I like a race cars 1 year and then 2 years later I'm doing bloody porn on OnlyFans. Like, I'm just pretty like chill to whatever sort of is, whatever is, sort of thing. I mean, if someone says you should try this, I'm like, oh, I'll give it a go. Like, depends what it is. I mean, if I'm going to break a leg or do something stupid, probably not. But you know, if I can see a sort of value in it and it looks fun and I think I might be good at it or enjoy it, I'll probably give it a go. So how much has life changed for you with the OnlyFans thing now? And obviously, like, so I think one of the things I said to you in the email was that like I personally don't want to do OnlyFans. Yeah. You know what I mean? Not a lot of people do, yeah. That's totally fine. But at the same time, I can like very staunchly hold that opinion and also completely not judge anybody that does. And especially in the case of, because I'm like, oh, well, I know you've copped a fucking heap of criticism. But like, so what's like the most you've earned in a month that you publicly have spoken about? Yeah, so the month of June, I made $500,000, just a little bit over. What? Yeah, by the time it converted and hit my bank account, yeah. So like, fuck anybody that says you should not make 500 grand in a month if it's in a way that you're comfortable doing. Yeah, right. Why do you think I can keep doing it? So yeah, it was a pretty big month, and like I don't have as big a months, but I have like repeatedly pretty decent months to some people. Like what I earn in a month is what some people don't even earn in a year. No. So yeah, I have some pretty, like, I'm probably averaging 200, 250K a month, like pretty comfortably. I mean, even when I had my surgery a couple months ago, I was not active at all because I was like zonked out on painkillers and drugs and stuff. Like vlogs. Oh, the videos? Yeah. So that was like probably 2-3 weeks I was really out of it, and I was just posting old stuff, but nowhere near as what I was posting, like what I do normally. And I think I made like 210 grand like in that month. Man. And that was like me taking time off. So yeah, it's pretty good. I can't complain. Yeah, like, and so the criticism that comes is like, okay, I would like to, this is probably a fucking YouTube video in itself, is like, you give somebody a check for $500,000 $100,000
Yeah.
on the spot and go, wait, show me your dick.
Yeah.
100% I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And like
People do it for free every day.
right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, just to be presented with literally life-changing money, month on month on month on month on month on. What the fuck are you going to do? Like, why would you say no to that?
Yeah, right. That's why I keep doing it. So the only thing is sometimes it does get hard because, like, I think OnlyFans now has the persona of obviously, well, I've got people think maybe it's my OnlyFans has the persona to do it. So it's like the second I'm not on top of it. So this, like, I post all the time. So like probably 1 week, like I'll do a video, like a solo video, then I'll do like a boy girl video, and then I'll probably do just like a nude video or like maybe just a quick cheap video
So
sort
yeah,
of thing.
are you actually fucking on there?
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah. So each week I'll do, so because I get, sometimes it's like, it's hard to fuck on film all the time. Like it's for both parties.
Yeah.
And I get over it because people are so specific. So it's like I've got over 10,000 people on my OnlyFans. It's like, how do you please all 10,000 of them? Because I guarantee if you sat them all down and went on Pornhub and go, you know, watch what you want to watch, every single one of them is watching something different, right? So it's like, I post one like fuck video is what I call it a week, but each week I try and make it as different as possible, but try and like listen to what people are asking for or demanding.
Yeah.
And it's like, it gets hard. So I like the fuck videos. I try and keep to 1 a week because if you do too many of them, people ask too much. So I find like if that's something that's like this is what you're getting, people like are less
Can accept
fussy,
it,
yeah,
yeah.
and they just go, oh, she
You're
hasn't
not trying
posted,
to appease people,
right? But then like I do like blowjob videos, like JOI, foot job. Like I try and do as much as I can other smaller stuff that then reaches the wider variety. So people will be like, I want this and I want that, and I literally have a whiteboard in my office where I write down like, you know, people want me to pee on something and I'll like write it down. Like I'll have a whole thing of ideas and right this week we'll do that, and then I'll do that. So I have like fuck video, but then I'll have like 2 other smaller cheaper videos that I try and like change up each week and make different for like obviously people who have fetishes and all that sort of stuff. So it's really hard to like please everybody. And the thing is that people are like, well, I'm paying all this money and I'm not getting what I want. So it's like, well, hang on a second, like you've got a month subscription, like this is just 1 week, like why don't you just wait until next week? Like people just want it now sort of thing. So that's probably the hardest thing, is like being different and not doing what every other girl's doing on OnlyFans, which is like, you know, the hardest thing is trying to change it up. And then pleasing such a wide variety of people. But I do think that's why my OnlyFans does so well, is because I had up to...
You're putting in real work.
It's a full-time job. Well, it is my full-time job. I mean, it would be yours too if you're making that much money. So, it's hard, and it's being like not 1 week ahead but 2 weeks ahead, and trying to like think, okay, well, this week I've got that video, and next week we'll do that video, and even like planning events. Like, you know, I've got a jet ski. It's like, well, maybe I'll hop out on the jet ski and I'll go to like an abandoned beach and like fuck on the beach or something like that, you know? So it's like trying to plan ahead and then think about it, that it like each week sort of like tie in together sort of thing. So yeah, it is hard. And then it's like telling people what you're posting and then trying to get people hyped for it and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's like sometimes I think I need like a marketing company or something to like help me get ahead of like what I've got coming up and help strategize like all my videos and stuff. So yeah, it is a full-time job. And then, you know, I've got my main page when you subscribe to OnlyFans, which I put content on, so it's like getting photos and getting all that done as well. So yeah, it's being able to balance it and manage it. And my biggest thing is I basically get people to pay me for anything X-rated, but it's like balancing my main page that I don't show too much that people just steal it and take it and post it on the internet, but they can see enough of it that they want to pay for the X-rated content as well. So that's the biggest balancing act of my page. And I always know the second I fuck up, like someone will send me a link or something, they'll be like, oh, I got this, and it's like, damn, like I gave too much away or I showed too much or whatever, and then it's like I shouldn't have done that, and it's like the biggest regret. And then you like spend a whole week like trying to figure out how the hell you're going to fix it and not do the same thing for next week. What do you mean by like teaser videos and whatever, like,
and so they just end up on the internet.
Yeah, like a 2-minute snippet sort of thing, or like a 30-second video or whatever. And so I'm like, okay, well, how can I show people a teaser without actually showing a teaser? So it's hard.
That nut.
Yeah, right. Like it's such a balancing act. It's like, yeah, trying to figure out how to show people what you got coming without showing them too much so that they're satisfied off just that. So yeah, and then people were like, well, I'm not going to unlock this if I don't know like what's going on in the video. It's like, well, I can't show you because you're probably going to take it and post it on Pornhub.
Yeah. Is there a bunch of your shit on Pornhub?
Yeah, my shit's everywhere.
Yeah, right.
But to be honest, it's great. I did a poll on my I used to hate it. I actually got like a legal team and actually took someone down off Facebook a little while ago because he was sharing all my shit on there in like some group. And I did get a legal team and they're like, well, we could go to town on so many of these people because like all my OnlyFans stuff has my copyright. I copyright stamp everything. So they're like, we could literally go to town. But I sort of was just like, got over it. And then I was like, okay, I'll just wait, take this guy down. They gave me like advice on like what to do. And there's all this stuff like DMCA and all this stuff. So I gave it a rest for a week and then my stuff went up on Pornhub and then I like literally got probably like 1,000 followers on my OnlyFans. I'm like, where are all these people coming from? And then I clicked on the statistics on OnlyFans and a lot of people were coming through straight from my Instagram. So I'm like, oh, this is weird. So I did a poll on my Instagram saying, where are you coming from? Like the media, do you find my stuff leaked online, rah, rah, rah. And I think I had like, over 1,000 people on leaked online stuff and they had all subscribed to my OnlyFans. So it's great because I think guys are great. They're quite like, not simple-minded, but they're sort of like...
This is one of my questions for later.
Yeah. I don't want to offend any men and males speaking.
Dude, honestly, guys need to know how fucking retarded they are. Like, they're just so predictable. And, like, we're a fucking monkey. Like, there is some juice that's flowing in our shit.
Yeah.
And we're just fucking primitive monkeys.
So I feel like... So I think everyone can maybe relate. Like, when you go to watch porn, for example, so if you see my video, how many times do you just, like, watch one porn video when you go on Pornhub or something? Like very rarely are you ever satisfied with one video, right? So
yeah, you like open up a few tabs,
and you like scroll down the sides, like recommended, and you're like, oh yeah, and so it happens all the time.
How good the fucking algorithms are, man. Like I actually don't watch a lot of porn these days. Like this year, I really haven't watched any porn.
Yeah,
but like fuck, when I used to watch porn, it would be a lot of like, I'd get the same kind of, stuff. The same little group and I'd have like a very specific, it's funny, like because of my film background, so I actually did film. That's what I did in the US. Lighting's got to be good. Camera's got to be good. They got to be using the right sort of shutter speeds. Like I was just fucking, I had like a weird thing of like what actually looked good to me.
Like professional porn, like full.
100%. Like I could never watch any fucking home shit, POV
You'd be no good
shit.
on my OnlyFans then.
No, I ain't with it.
All guys are the same, so it's great because a lot of people will go, oh, like I just watched one of your videos on Pornhub and they'll tip me and they'll be like, can I have the full one or can I have another one?
Yeah.
So all these videos get leaked online and I'm not condoning leaking my shit, by the way, but like it all gets leaked online, but guys are very like, oh, I've just watched that 7-minute video, like I want to watch another one. Or they'll be like, oh, like I want to watch more for next time sort of thing. So yeah, I did a poll and I get it all the time. People are just like, oh, I just watched a video online. Like, can I get another one? Or do you have a better one? Or do you have one like this? So it's so funny because guys are just like, they'll just message me straight away on OnlyFans and they'll be like, oh, I just watched this video on Pornhub. Can you send me the full one? And like they just watched it for free, but they're willing to pay me like $40 to watch it, but like have it on OnlyFans. Like it's so weird how guys work. So I used to like freak out about my stuff getting leaked, but now I'm sort of just like, I've actually got an account with Pornhub and Pornhub contacted me directly a little while ago because they said for like 2 whole weeks I was the most searched name across all of their websites.
Fuck,
so like
really?
Pornhub, RedTube, like they had a few other random websites. I have 5 websites which are all under the Pornhub like brand and all the sister websites, and across every single one of them I was the most searched name for like 2 weeks in a row. It was crazy. Then they messaged me and they're just like, do you want to open an account and like start making money off this or what? So what they actually started doing is any leaked videos that were out there, they were letting get views and get watched, and then they were transferring it over into my name and I'd get paid for it.
Oh, wow. So I always wondered that. So Pornhub pays you for your channel based on views? Yeah.
So if you're like an official verified person, so they made me an account and verified. If you're not verified or haven't been like verified from Pornhub, you don't, because that's why I had a lot of people who were saying they were Renee Gracie but weren't verified. And Pornhub said probably what they were doing is trying to get paid.
Yeah.
So one video had like 108,000 views. and that was just had been up for like 24 hours. And she's just like, we'll let this like grow a little bit. And then it got up to like 300 and something, and then she transferred it into my account, and then I bang got money in my account straight away. So how they do it,
what's the view like count pay sort of
it's
structure?
shit. It's not as good as like OnlyFans or anything, but I think from like that one video I got like $2,000 just from having like 300,000 views. So it's like, for me, not even
That's
like
better than YouTube.
For someone like uploading it on my behalf and then me getting paid for it, I mean, I can't complain, right? So yeah, I get a couple grand a week from Pornhub just because of people leaking my shit. And then they've got like a thing that like if it's not a verified and it's got my name in it, so if it's not through my verified account but it's got my name in it, or my name similarly spelt, because people will be cheeky and do like one E, or like Gracie with the AI or whatever, they'll spell it differently. So if it's spelt similar, they'll audit it and check it and be like, oh yep, like they're trying to be Renee, and they'll just transfer it to me. So yeah, I can't complain even more now that my shit gets leaked, because I literally get paid for it.
Yeah, right. Have you heard of Lana the Plug?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I follow Adam, like 22, like her partner.
Yeah.
So he's like one of the podcast dudes that I like.
Yep.
And fuck, man, like that was one of the first times that I'd really seen I suppose living in LA, like I met a few of the bigger porn stars over there, like Riley Reid and shit.
Yeah.
And it was crazy to hear them talk about like that. Essentially, it's just you're like a sex influencer. Like people want to be attached to the person more than the fucking itself. Yeah.
That's something that I've discovered too. Like my partner and I obviously do the videos, and I'm sort of just like, don't really get much of you in it, because like they just want to see like me. And like I've tried to something I've learned is like the angles and stuff like that, and the bit that people want to see is that it's true, like they sort of want to know, like it's you that they want to see. And
it's like a voyeuristic experience. Like you don't really like there's one couple that I fucking love on Pornhub, and that's Leo Lulu.
Leo Lulu.
Have you seen their shit?
No, I've seen a few like Jacqueline Hyde and like a few other like
Is
couples.
he the dude with the crazy tattoos?
Yeah, he's got weird tattoos all over him. Yeah. Only because I try and imitate. I'm just like, oh, this is what we'll try and do on OnlyFans. Dude, they do some good shit.
Leo Lulu is
I'll have to search
fucking
him.
shit. They're like this French couple.
Yeah.
And like she's just fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
And yeah, they always do like they've been doing shit for years. But I find like that's sort of to what like my point before is like I kind of have a few people that if I do want to watch porn, I'll watch that. But I'm kind of invested in them. Like it'd be very, very strange for me to just watch random porn, I reckon, these days.
And most guys are like that. Once they find like something that they like, they'll just stay there and they'll find similar things. But yeah, they'll just randomly go, what's new, and like search through things. But then when they find something that's like it for them, and they'll stick on that person or that thing for a little while. So yeah, guys are very like that. I've discovered that with OnlyFans. Like when I started it, I originally started it going like, oh, like, I'll probably get like 500 people or something, and $15 a month, like, just a little bit of extra money, whatever, because I knew that people like wanted that. But like, in my first day I had like 1,000 people, and I was like, what the fuck, I didn't know so many people wanted to see me naked.
Did you like when you went into doing the OnlyFans thing to start with, were you looking at it as though you were going to do porn, or were you just going to like show your tits and like more photo shit? And then as you saw the monetary potential, then you're like, fuck this, let's just like milk this shit.
Yeah, so I knew what girls were using it for, and to be honest, I never thought I would use it like that. So I knew girlfriends who were on it, and I knew people who were on it, and I had done my research, and I knew porn stars that were on it and followed them, and I'm like, oh, I'd never get to this, like no one wants to see that. Like I didn't really think anything of it. To be honest, I didn't even think anyone would want to see my tits, to be honest, when I did it. I'm like, there'll be a few creeps out there that'll pay me for it, whatever. And so, yeah, when I did it, I had no idea, no intentions to really go any further. And my idea was like my Instagram, I was already doing like bikini shots and like, photos that were pretty much nothing on sort of thing. So I'm like, well, why not just show a little bit more and just get people to pay for it? And why not remove that side from my Instagram and make it slightly more professional? So then just for like everyday life, like when someone goes, oh, like, who are you? Like, oh, look at my Instagram, or here's a photo of my tits on my Instagram. Like it's, like just to clean that side up a little bit. my dad said it to me. He was like, I was showing one of my friends, your Instagram, because I wanted to show him like one of your racing photos, and the first photo that came up was a photo of your tits, and I'm like, well, don't show people my Instagram.
Yeah.
But he was like, wanted to show someone a photo of my car or something.
He's a proud dad.
Yeah, and he was like, back in the day, my Instagram was only car photos, so he was like, and wanted to show someone a photo, and it's like me and tits out. So I was like, maybe I'll just like clean my Instagram up and get people to pay me to see more of me. So literally I did it, and like my first 24 hours I made like 20-30 grand or something, and there was like 1,000 people on there, and then people were like, I had no idea. People were like tipping me, which I didn't know or think people were going to do, and they were tipping me, and they were like, like, love you so much, like if you ever decide to show more, like let me know. And people were messaging me going like, when are you going to show more? And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I was literally just took a photo of my tits, sold it for $20, like made another grand, and I'm like, holy fuck, like this is crazy. And then like it just started to progress because I just did what people wanted to see, like, and I didn't care like what I was doing, because it's like, well, at least I'm getting paid for it. And I didn't think that anyone would ever want to see the stuff that they're seeing now, to be completely honest, because I mean, I don't know, like whenever I like have sex or something and I see myself in the mirror, I'm like, oh gross, yuck, like, oh, don't look. So I'm like, why would anyone want to see that? So I don't know, like it's just progressed more and more and more. Like there's some things that I won't do, like there's some stuff that just,
what's your to don't list?
People tell me to like take a video of me shitting, so I was like, that's definitely a no. Peeing, I've done. Peeing's all right.
What, like pissing on someone?
Yeah, not on someone, but just on something, or like just like in the bush, or like outside, or like a public pee or something like that. So that's like, I don't know, that's fine for me because I've had to piss in the bush before, so it's like might as well film it, right? So it doesn't really bother me, that stuff. And then like someone, the shitting one, and then like anal. I don't do anal. I don't like doing that.
I was gonna say, you probably just don't like anal.
Yeah, I just don't like it. A lot of people like want me like.
Have you invested in anal though before?
No, like I've done it like once when I was like 18 or something, and I'm just like, nah.
Has your partner got a big dick?
Yeah. And it's no good.
Yeah.
Like and he hasn't even tried, because I just know that I won't like it. I'm just not like relaxed enough to like, and I think in my head now I know that it's like an uncomfortable and shit experience. I'm just like,
Anal's
I don't want it.
Anal's a process though. Like if you want to do anal with your partner, you've got to like really invest in doing
like getting
anal.
there,
it's
right?
It's like a 6-month fucking thing.
Yeah, it's no good.
It's like step by step, and you can get there in the end, but it's a fucking process.
But
and
I just don't get it.
If your dude's got a big dick.
Like it's like my vagina's I think is pretty good anyway, so it's like, why bother? Like you've already got one good hole.
It's just a thing for dudes, man.
Yeah, it's weird. I think they just want to like get in it because it's like something that's like,
it's forbidden fruit.
Yeah, right. I think
on a deeper level though, like for a guy, if you've got a chick that, if you're just gonna fuck a chick in the ass that you've just met, then it's just like you're just trying to fuck a chick in the ass. But in terms of like a relationship thing, I feel like there's a level of like trust that sort of goes into it, and if you go like commit to this process of like doing it, and then it gets better, and then it's like there's a trust that like, I'm not going to hurt you, and, we can sort of work
not going to go
it.
in too hard or like whatever. You sort of got to know the person to do it. I know so many people who do it, but then again I know more girls who don't mind doing it, but I know more guys who actually don't like it. Like personally, as friends, I don't know if they tell me that they don't like it, but really they like do it. But I know a lot of guy mates who have tried it and say like, it's not really worth it. Like I
think again it just depends. Like
it's weird.
If it's just one night thing and you're just fucking a chick in the ass, like it's kind of just a weird dirty experience. But it's like if you've got like, if you're with your partner, it's like a thing that you do. Then I'm into it personally. But it's got to be a process. It's not just a fucking impulse thing. I'm not for it. I don't know why. I think maybe it's just like for me, I feel like maybe it's all about the girl too, and it's like how you no, not quite. I think it's like with a girl, it's like how you are as well, like how you come and how you do things. I think that all like depends on it. Like some girls can use that for it, but I actually feel like doing anal like hinders me from like coming and like orgasming and that. So it's like for me, I don't know, when I think of anal, like when I tried it years ago, I'm sort of just like, I was so focused on that, it was shit. Like the actual sex and everything was shit, and just afterwards it was like no good. So I don't know, for me, I feel like I think it might just be like me and the way I am and like my body and how I like, feel things and whatever it is. I actually think it like puts me off and stops everything else working. I don't know why. So yeah, I don't like it. I have some guys who ask me to film me licking my boyfriend's asshole.
That's a no, because I don't like anything going in my asshole. I ain't going near your asshole. So yeah, there's some people with some weird stuff out there. I think like the pooing thing's like a weird thing. Like I would never.
Do you get a lot of feet stuff?
Yeah, heaps of feet stuff. Feet stuff's
But you
so
do
normal.
that shit though,
yeah,
right?
feet stuff's so normal for me now. Like literally, there are so many feet people out there. Like
It's fucking crazy.
it's actually
I had no idea.
I feel like I've become a bit of a feet person because of all the feet people now. Like I look at people's feet now. I'm like, your feet are fucked up.
Yeah.
And then I'll like appreciate someone's foot. I'll be like, that's actually, you've got really nice feet. So
Same with fucking hands.
yeah, same thing. Yeah.
I've had that recently too, where I've like always famously like just fucking feet for like just being on the ground. That's it.
Yeah.
Like I don't like people touching my feet. I don't like. But then I had a chick with like real hot feet, and I was like, you've got
Yeah.
like really nice feet. You got really nice hands.
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe there is something to this.
Yeah, I definitely think so. There's like layers and levels of like feet people too that I've like noticed. So some people like soles of your feet is like the big thing. Like that's the most popular thing. So people will literally message
Explain
me.
a complete foot fetish to people, because I'm not even sure I'm fully across like the spectrum of feet
Yeah,
fetish,
so
foot
okay,
fetish.
so if like a foot fetish, so okay, the common things I would get is like people just want a photo of my feet. So they want the tops, they want the toes, and then they want the soles. Then if you want to get sort of like the next step up is the people who like either one or the other. So I have people who are like specifically for toes. So they want like my toes like pressed up on something, or like my toes like slipping into a shoe, or like my toes freshly painted. So they like.
Have you got nice feet?
Yeah, I don't really know if I've got nice feet. I mean, my shoes are a bit dirty, but
You got little feet.
I got little feet. I mean, my feet are always like, yeah, I don't know. I think I've got okay feet. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't look at my feet and I think like they're embarrassed. I get pedicures like every fortnight
I was
or
gonna say,
something.
they're nice.
Yeah, they're not like super sexy feet, but they're not ugly either. I don't think there's such thing as sexy feet, but yeah, so there's the toe people, and then the toe people I find always want your toes doing something. So like either
Engaged.
bent up on my tippy toes, or like, you know, or like cross, like touching each other, like my toes, my 2 feet together sort of thing. And then there would be like soles. So the soles is like the most popular. Like when I get a foot person, I'll normally always ask like, what are you sort of wanting? And they'll just be like, your soles. So
Yeah, I want your soles.
yeah, I want your soles. So it's like the arch of your foot,
Yeah.
and they want like, because I think I've spoken to a few of my foot fetish people, is because it's like so smooth and it's like
Yeah.
such an untouched area of your body. Like that's how they think. And so because it's such like a smooth area, it's so untouched, like it's quite sensitive and soft. So that's like what gets them off, I think. And like most sole people want me to like have my soles like arched and have them like as like arched, and like some people call it like they want to like see all the wrinkles on my soles, and then they want me to like stretch my feet so it's like nice and smooth. So like again, they sort of want them like doing things. So like my soles like 2 soles together, or like one, like my toes touching my soles, and then like they want me to sit on my feet, like where your feet are sort of tucked up underneath you, because your soles get like wrinkly and like all that sort of stuff. So like the soles is like a big thing, and I think that's because like foot job videos and stuff, like I don't know if you've watched any of it. I've done one before. Guilty of it. It's like the soles is the bit that you like fuck.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like nice and smooth, and it's like, and again, like when people like, when I send them a photo, they go, oh, your soles look so nice and smooth, or they'll be like, oh, they look so nice and wrinkly, and oh, your skin looks like in such good condition. Like they really get into like the condition of your soles, because I think they try and like imagine like fucking it. I don't know. And then I think some people are like shoe/feet people. So I have a lot of people who are like, I want your feet like in heels or in a flat, or like, can you take a video of you putting your foot into a shoe and taking it out of a shoe? So that's common. Probably not as common, but it's definitely like or like a shoe hanging off.
Yeah.
Like the shoe/feet people, they're probably like not far away from the sole people. Like I do get a lot of people saying like, oh, can you slip your foot into a shoe or a heel or something like that. Some people might go even a bit further and want me to wear like a specific shoe and have my foot like on a specific angle.
I was
like,
gonna say, do you get like Jordan people and shit like that?
yeah,
Or,
like it's mainly high heel people. Like people love high heels, but they want like a red high heel or a black high heel, or like or some people will be like, they want like a thong or a sandal or something like that. Like they're specific about the shoe. I spoke to one guy who had a foot fetish, and I was like, can I ask like how you knew that you like were into this? And he's just like, oh, he's like, I knew from like such a young age, and I was like, how do you know? Like, to be honest, I don't pay attention to people's feet. He's like, yeah, but he's like, what do you like about people? And I'm like, oh, you know, like eyes, teeth, you know, skin color. And he's like, so just how you pay attention to that is like how I would pick up feet. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. And he basically said that like when he was younger, at school, he would always watch his teacher's feet. And that's how it started. So he's like, he would just pay attention to like everybody's feet and shoes. And he said he would look and like walk around and follow people walking and like watch their feet and their shoes. And then he said eventually he just got like so into it that he would like go out to clubs and stuff, and like he would literally pick up chicks based on like their feet and what shoes they were wearing.
Fuck, that'd be an easy way to live.
Like just being pleased by someone's foot. I know,
like
right?
100%. Like if you could go to a club and you didn't give a fuck what a chick was wearing, like what she looked like. No, if she just had like nice feet in heels,
yeah,
like fuck, you could pull anyone out.
But
of
I
that
feel
joint.
like when you think about it, I feel like the way someone's foot is presented in a shoe reflects the person, right? So
yeah.
I feel like if you have like a specific thing, like you're not going to get a hot chick with like gross as fuck feet and wearing like ugly shoes, right? So yeah, but yeah, he said that like ever since he was in school, he had been watching like the teachers in like their high heels or like their small heels, and he's like, he used to watch like his teacher under the desk like slip like her shoe on and off and stuff. So that's how it all started. And now he's got like, yeah, he's like, he said he's got a crazy fetish and like buy shoes off people and all sorts of stuff. So God knows what he does. And then I have people who like want to like see your feet in action. So like your foot job people or like your video people. Like some people want me like putting my foot in a shoe and out of a shoe. Like some people want like the action of like what your feet can do sort of thing. So some people just want like me literally with my feet together, like touching my feet and like the sound of like my feet like touching each other and that sort of stuff. So then you've got like, they're like your...
Then you're getting into the ASMR
yeah,
sort of
like
shit.
that sort of stuff. Like some people just literally want me to like go up on my tippy toes and then like down again sort of thing. So like then there's like that sort of... that category of like, I mean like in action, like sort of, you know, like doing something. Like some people want my foot like on the accelerator, like accelerating in my car, braking, stuff like that. Or just my feet like just literally like sitting on the couch or like
Just
me
a day in the
sitting on my
life.
feet, yeah, doing weird shit. So yeah, foot fetish 101.
It's so easy and so... you can be so quick to like judge somebody for something like that because it is strange to the quote unquote normal. But like... I always just go back to this thought that if I was exposed to every single thought, every single influence, every single act of randomness that the universe presented those people, I would jack off over feet. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel when in the beginning, I never really thought feet. I mean, I don't know if I ever thought feet was a weird thing. I think someone asked me, I think the issue is that not really an issue, but someone's like, oh, can I have a photo of your feet? And I'm like, oh, what? I'm like, why does this guy want a photo of my feet? That's weird.
So you didn't even know that they were a thing?
No. And then I'm like, why does this guy want a photo of my feet? Like, that's weird. Like, what's he going to do with it? Is he like, and I just thought like, oh, okay. Like if he wants a photo of my feet, I'll take a photo of my feet. And then I took a photo of my feet and he's like, oh, you've got such good feet. And I was like, oh, thanks. And he's like, can I have more? And I'm like, oh, okay. And then he started like requesting things and I'm like, oh, like this is really easy.
There's a market here.
Yeah, because when you think about it, I would much rather sell 1 million feet photos than do a fuck video.
Yeah.
It's so much easier.
Yeah.
And no labor whatsoever put into feet pictures. It's really easy to take a foot photo than it is to film like a whole fucking fuck video and edit it and make sure that it's good. So yeah, for me I was sort of like, oh, okay, like this guy likes feet. And then yeah, not long after that I realized it was so common. Now, like ever since I've had OnlyFans, like there's someone's into everything. Like all sorts of people have weird fetishes. So like now I'm sort of like, I look at everybody and I'm like, someone's got some fucked up fetish that they're into. Like, it's without a doubt. Like, you would know someone who's into feet. Like, someone's probably into like...
I'd be into something weird that somebody else wouldn't be into. Like,
yeah,
everyone's 100%. Got their things.
Like, everyone's into something, so I don't really think that it's weird. I mean, there's the rare ones, like someone like wanting to see me poo and stuff like that. Like, that's no good.
But again, like, you just got to go back to that thinking that, like, that person, he, she, has obviously just been exposed to something.
Yeah.
A thought's been planted in their head, and then they've continued to think that thought throughout their life. And it's like, that's all these things are to people.
Yeah,
you know?
literally. I don't know what it is about the pooing thing. I mean, I'll happily pee. I think pooing is just like an invasion of privacy. Not that I have a lot of privacy, but it's just like...
It's like, let me have one thing.
Yeah, how I poo in my own time is how I poo, you
Girls
know?
don't
Like,
poo that, right?
I've heard that, and they don't fart either. Yeah. But that's it. Like, I think it's just like the one thing that like no one should really like see or know about. I don't know why. It's just...
I feel like I've probably shit on camera.
What?
They're just like, you know what, one of your mates
I
camping
feel like
or
guys,
something like that.
yeah, maybe guys are a bit different.
It's different,
guys
yeah.
like get their dick out and will take a piss anywhere and do any of that sort of stuff. So I guess that's probably right. Like I've probably been in the room with my mates and they've just gone and taken a shit. But like, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think like, yeah, for me, it's like the one thing that I don't like really want to share.
And that's fine.
It's like
Totally,
weird.
that's on you.
It's on me, but yeah, I feel like everyone, and now like even when I was like dating before I met my boyfriend too, like a lot of things, it made me like think about how to like talk to people and approach people differently too, because like everybody likes different things and everybody sees things differently. And I learnt that on OnlyFans. Like it's crazy how you think about it, but like the experience that I got from talking to so many people, and like when I would like post a photo or like a video, everyone's feedback on it was completely different. Like everybody saw the video differently, if that makes sense. Like I would post a video and some guy would be like, oh, I loved how you did this. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even know I did that. And then some other guy's like, I love how you do this. And I'm like, oh, like that's weird. Like you can watch a video and everyone sees the video differently, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
So that made me realize that, I mean, I've never really sort of like paid attention to that sort of stuff before. So I was sort of like, oh, like everybody's pleased differently. So that was like one thing that I picked up early on OnlyFans, like to please people and understand that people see things differently is like really important. And then like I guess in like my dating life and everything, I was sort of like the same thing. I'm like, how like this person sees me, or like, you know, the impression that I make now might not actually be it. So I would always like, I think I just ask different questions, and I would sort of like try and make an effort to like, I don't really, it's hard to explain, but like I think I was just like,
You just were more open-minded, right?
Yeah, and I was like trying to make sure that like that person was happy, or maybe they don't like this food, or maybe they don't want to go here, or maybe they're uncomfortable or whatever. Like I just think I was more open-minded to actually like that person's like thoughts and feelings and how they were seeing it and taking things in, because of OnlyFans, because of like the experiences when I posted a video, how everyone like commented on completely different things, and then some people didn't even notice that I did something that other people's picked up on. So it was like, a really big eye opener. And then I would always ask people, I'm like, what's your weird thing? Like, what's fucked up about you that I don't know yet? Because everyone's got something like weird and fucked up that they won't admit. And so I'm like, sort of, tell me now so I know if it's like I'm into it or I'm not into it.
Well, and so you're doing that in like real life?
Yeah, like dating and stuff. Yeah, I was just like, what's your thing? Like, what's your fucked up thing that you're into, or that you like that you're not going to tell me until probably a couple months later. So like, what don't you feel comfortable telling me now that like I know you've got, because everyone's got something.
Yeah, you are right. And I think the way that you would be experiencing people on OnlyFans, it's fully anonymous. It's on a place where you're like watching you fuck. So like the boundaries are gone.
Yeah.
Like we know what we're there for.
Yep.
And it's anonymous. So you'd be in a very rare position of actually really having people tell you what they, like actually what is going on with them, because there's complete anonymity. You already know it's there. There's probably a level in which people expect that you're just down to fucking hear whatever.
Yeah.
So
literally, I think there's some people who want to be known. There's some people who will literally be like, hi, my name's here, like I live here and I met you here, and like there's some people who want me to know who they are, which I actually don't like. I think it's weird. Like I'd rather the less I know about you, the better. You can know all that you think that you know about me or want to know about me. That's fine. But like, I don't need to know anything about you. Some people like to share, like so many people come for advice. Like when I'm like doing a video or do something, they're like, oh, like I'm having trouble with my missus and or I got fired from work, or like heaps of people come because they are anonymous and they do like want to chat and like, sort of have someone to talk to. And then I think having someone to talk to, as in they can like literally put like a face, a name and a body to, makes them feel a little bit better about it. I don't know. And then there's some people who are completely anonymous, but then it's weird because like I have like levels of fans and followers, like VIPs and stuff, and it's such a mix. Like some of my VIPs, most of them, like half of them I would like know by name, and then the other half I wouldn't. So it's weird.
What's the VIP thing like?
So I've just set up like a VIP on my page. So it's basically if you've been subscribed for over 6 months and if you've spent over $600, you go to my VIP, because you can create like groups on OnlyFans. So you go into a VIP group, and then I have a VVIP group that only that they know about. And it's basically if you've been subscribed for as long as I've been on and you've spent over $1,000, then I'll obviously just send you heaps of free shit pretty much, because they've spent like $1,000. So if they spend over $1,000 a month, then I just keep sending them shit basically. So what some
I
of them...
cannot imagine spending $1,000 a month on watching somebody else fuck.
Yeah, so it just shows you like what some of these guys are like, you know.
Yeah.
And some of the guys, well, most of them, like, I'm not the only one they subscribe to.
Yeah.
Like, they subscribe to multiple other girls as well. So whether they spend money with them or not's another thing. But yeah, most of them will have one or two other girls that they subscribe to. So, but yeah, a lot of my VVIPs, I would probably say most of them I know, but my VIPs, and most of these guys have been since I've started.
Yeah.
So they've been on there for ages, and pretty much half of them will have like just stupid like fake names, like, you know, like Long Dick 101 or something like that, you know, like stupid names.
Probably has a long dick.
Yeah,
for sure.
probably. And then, yeah, like they'll just talk to me every day. They'll unlock everything I send. They'll like tip and, you know, participate in everything that I do. But like they won't really communicate or talk much. They just like to sit on the back and, you know, just watch everything sort of happen in front of them, where I have guys who literally message me every single day and like literally will message me in the morning, at lunchtime, at nighttime, like just want the full experience sort of thing. So yeah, it's interesting to see like there are different types of people. Like there's some people who will tip and unlock, and I gave one guy like a VIP status, and I went through our messages and he hadn't messaged me once. He literally would probably go onto OnlyFans every day, and I sent him saying like, congratulations, you got VIP, whatever, and he's just like, oh no, I don't want this, you can give it to someone else. And I'm like, well no, like you've earned it. And he's like, no, I don't need it. And I'm like, well, like I'm gonna send you stuff anyway, like whatever. And he's just like, okay, thanks. And I'm just like, what the hell, like weird, right? So yeah, it's interesting, like there's so many different characters and people on there. It's interesting.
It is a trip. Like you've got a very unique insight into the minds of just people in general.
Yeah, and I think it's because I have so many followers and they're all so different as well. Like, you know, having over 10,000, I mean, at one stage I had like 19,000. So it was like fucking crazy the amount of people I was talking to in a day. Like I was hundreds of people I was messaging a day. But it's funny because like everyone's like, guys are all different, but they're all the same at the same time. Like it's interesting. Like you can tell straight away by how someone talks to you and like how they message you and like what, like it's so easy to predict like that person basically by the first like sentence.
Yeah. Fuck. I had no idea how deep this shit runs. Like I'm getting a full on education here.
Yeah, it's full on.
Yeah.
It's like customer service, I guess, or like it's more than that though, because you're really trying to like when you talk to these people, like you got to think like you want to try and get money from them, right? So it's like you've got to give them like the full service. Some people are just assholes and I just like can't be fucked with. So like the second they're like rude to me, like show me your asshole. I'm like, well, how about no? And then they're just like, well, come on, like that's what I came here for. I'm like, fine, pay me $100 and I'll show you it. And they're like, what, $100? And I'm like, well, you shouldn't have been a cunt then. Like, you know. So some people are just annoying. But then there's other people like, you know, when they message you, you're like, okay, like this person's like, he's like, I'm so glad to be here. Like, you know, this is my first time subscribing anything like this. So you're like, okay, like you got to be gentle, like going easy with this person. Like you can really like tell. I mean, I don't know if that's how I do it, just because like I have, I guess like with my sponsorship and like understanding of like people, I sold cars and shit like that before. I'm like, okay, how am I going to suck out as much money as I can from this person sort of thing? Like I've got a bit of an understanding of like sort of milking people for money, I guess. Sort of runs like some like past careers have sort of helped me like get to where I am today. I don't know if other girls do that, but it's like you can sort of pick up like when someone signs on, like how you treat them and how they treat you is a reflection of, you can tell like, are they going to stick around? Like they're probably only going to be here for a month, like I'm not going to bother. Or you can tell someone might be like, oh, ask a few questions before they tip, so it's like, oh okay, like once he tips maybe just send him like an extra freebie or something like that, you know, just little things like that you sort of got to pick up on and hope that you sort of get it right and they stick around.
And so is it you doing everything pretty much?
Yeah, I do everything on my OnlyFans, yeah.
So like you're the only one with the login and you're just fucking grinding on that bitch.
Yeah, it's a full-time job, so people don't understand. Like I tried to figure it out one time, like my last couple months have been super busy and I tried to figure it out. Like I think I spend about 60 hours a week on OnlyFans, yeah. And that's up, like it's not even filming. That's just like planning content,
yeah.
like, and so you can
Replying to
schedule
DMs and
stuff.
shit.
Yeah, you can schedule
yeah.
stuff on OnlyFans. I don't schedule stuff, but what I will do is I'll like pre-plan like what I'm going to send, and then sometimes the only time I schedule thing is if like I'm trying to, like if I've got like other content with a girl that I've shared or
Yeah,
like whatever,
yeah.
which we post it at the same time. So yeah, I try my best to just be like live and do my best to, I guess, be current and be like active, I guess, in the moment, because a lot of people, I know a lot of girls, bigger girls over like overseas and stuff like that, they're either not as frequent or active, or they have someone doing it for them. So for me, my like thing that I guess that I like the fact is that I have like full control over like my OnlyFans and what I post. And the reason why I don't pre-plan stuff is because I like wing stuff half the time. I'm sort of like, I know what videos I've got coming, but like, you know, like I'll be in my car and I'll just like get my tits out and take a photo sort of thing and just upload it just to make it like real sort of thing. So if you're scheduling stuff, I feel like, oh no.
It comes across.
Yeah, in a way, yeah, it does. So for me, it's like, you know, just in the car at the traffic lights, just, you know, take a photo sort of thing and then just post it. And then it's like, I feel like when people schedule things, it's like at 6 a.m. or it's 12 a.m. or it's 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
And me, I'm like, I just post at 9, I'll post at 1, like I'll post at the randomest fuck times just because like it's what I'm doing at the time, like sitting on the couch, like I'll just take a quick video, like all that sort of stuff. So I like that side of it, I guess. I like that it's not really like a controlled thing, but fuck, sometimes I wish I could plan things and had like more organization. Yeah, because like if I take one day off, it'll take me 2 days to catch up.
Yeah,
just
really.
on the messages and shit. Yeah, it gets pretty full on. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck. And how active are you with like your Instagram messages and shit? Like probably not at all.
No, fuck. I do not touch Instagram. No way. It's annoying because like even though my people have to like, you have to send a message and have to like approve it or whatever. Like I have 1,000. Like I've never read a Instagram message probably in like, I don't know, a couple of years. Even when I had like 50,000 followers, like at the start of the year, I just didn't bother.
Yeah, I was gonna say when I first looked at your shit, you had like 30 or 40,000 followers.
Yeah, I think I got
And
up
then I
to
looked the other
49,
day.
50. Yeah, and then up until recently, a few months ago, it took off. And I think that's just because of like my OnlyFans, my shit's getting leaked all the time, like a few articles in the paper, and it's just gone crazy. Someone did an article about me in India, so I fucking got heaps of Indians at one stage. Now it's like Indians, people from the UK, America and Australia, like sort of my top things, and then I get like real random people from like Puerto Rico and like random places. But yeah, I've got a lot of people from the UK, like more than what I realized at the time. But yeah, heaps of people from the UK. And I think it's just because of like articles or where like a video of mine's like gone viral. You can always tell because like I check my insights on my Instagram and it's like countries and it changes all the time. And I think it's like current to like whatever article or like what countries it's in, or like videos being leaked online or something probably. Yeah.
Have you got any like, so what's your team around you?
No one really. It's just me. Like I do all of everything. I'm quite like creative in a way. Like I wouldn't say I'm like overly creative, but like I'm always trying to think of like doing shit that no one else is doing sort of thing. So like I'm always trying to do, and I think because of like racing and everything, like, you know, racing, you're trying to do stuff for sponsors and you're always trying to like please people and stuff. Yeah. And I think I'm trying to do that like in real life as well. But no, like my team is, my sister helps me with the editing of the YouTube videos because she's really good with that. And then every now and then, like if I'm too busy, she'll help like do a post on Facebook or something like that. But other than that, like it's just me.
You obviously really like to work.
Yeah, I'm quite busy actually.
Yeah.
I was literally yesterday, I was out because I'm doing a competition on like the new car that I got.
Yeah.
And I was out all day yesterday filming, and then I got home and literally was gone from like 12 till, I think, when did I get home? 4 o'clock, and then I worked all night until like 8 o'clock, and then I went to bed. So I was like emails and just shit that I didn't get done while I was out. So yeah, it's like I am busy, and it's sort of like weird. I was thinking this the other day, like I'm busy for me. Like I sort of got to look at myself as like a business. Like I'm busy just doing shit for me. If that makes sense, it's weird.
Oh fuck, I
it's weird.
100% relate.
Yeah, it's
like,
weird.
You kind of get in this place where, especially like with me with the podcast, it's just me. I'm the only constant.
Yeah.
You're there today, another person's there tomorrow. So like you're this constant theme that runs through the podcast. So like essentially you do become almost like a character in whatever people are watching. Yeah. And it's definitely it's similar in the way that, you know, you're creating content, it's around yourself. and then just everything's on you. The posting's on you, and trust me, I understand the grind. That
for
you
me,
go through.
for me, it's like all been pretty new. Like when I was racing, my manager controlled a lot of it, and then when I stopped racing and I let him go, it was sort of like,
who was your manager?
I had a manager. Chris Jewell was my manager in Melbourne. He did like lots of motorsport stuff, so he managed me for ages. Like when I was like 13, he picked me up. He was like basically my dad, pretty much. Like he looked after me, went to Melbourne, lived with him. Like he did everything for me. And then when it ended with him, I was like, oh fuck, like I've got a Facebook, like I've got an Instagram, like I've got Twitter, like what's my fucking email login? Like I don't know anything, so because he did it all for me. So yeah, it took me a while to get on top of it. And then I think when I ended racing, like I didn't really care about Instagram or anything. Like you go back, like there'd be weeks where I hadn't posted like a photo, but my following kept growing. I don't know why, but people kept following me. And then I think because I was posting like not racing stuff, like more personal stuff, like a selfie or something, which I wasn't allowed to post, like shit just kept growing. And I was like, oh crap, like I need to bloody like improve this, or like just keep on top of it, because like I have it, like I shouldn't lose it, sort of thing. So yeah, I think that's why, like I don't know, like I just had no idea of anything, and then eventually I've just self-taught myself and picked up on stuff, and like I plan my own content and do all that sort of stuff. I've never really had anyone else to help.
Fuck, it's
probably
crazy what you've done. Like it's fucking like insane what you've built just by yourself.
I don't really think about it. I think it's just because like
you're just doing it.
Just doing it, I guess. Like I enjoy doing it, and I think the only thing, well, I think the only reason why I'm really doing it is just because it's for myself. Like it's not like I'm doing it for someone else. Like it's not like I'm doing it for a company and I'm helping promote this company and they're gonna profit from it and I'm not. Like it's for myself, so I'm sort of like, oh fuck it, like I'll just do it, and there's no loss to it, and might as well just do it and see how it goes. And that's sort of like my mentality for it. So that's why I just keep going. But up until just recently, I was like, oh shit, now I really have to put a lot of effort into my Instagram because I got heaps of followers. I'm like, oh, now I have to put so much effort in and really have to think about it. But to be honest, after a week of thinking like that, I'm like, fuck, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. Like I'm not going to change anything just because of like how many followers I've got. So I just keep doing what I'm doing, and I'm kind of glad that I pep talked myself out of that, because some girls like go crazy, and I look at like girls who I have similar following to, and I'm like, damn, like that would suck being so reliant on like Instagram and like that. There'd be so much pressure. I mean, for me, I know that I'm reliant on OnlyFans, but it's sort of like, I've made the money, like I'm pretty good now. Like, if OnlyFans stopped tomorrow or got banned or something,
you're
like
gonna be Gucci.
I'll be sweet for a couple of years anyway, and then I'll figure my shit out. So it's like, the stress and pressure of seeing some of these girls and like, posting stories and sponsorship stuff and all this stuff. I'm like, oh God, I couldn't imagine doing that. I'm just going to keep posting photos and doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, there's one, I won't name her, but one chick that I follow, and I followed her at the start because I was like, oh, she's definitely cool. She was doing some podcast stuff, and then like the more I've watched her, I'm just like, fuck, you're a mess, dude. You are, like, I can actively see that you're a fucking mess. And that
sad.
Sucks. Like I feel I'm sure she would be a lovely person. But like, man, and again, it's that whole copy of a copy. Like it's this digital self that you're just so fucking tripping on. Like, and it's all, that's everything. Like your income is tied to that. Like everything that you are is tied to that. And I'll read some of her shit, and it's just like, the pressures of taking a selfie 300. I'm like, you fucking look how you look, man.
Right.
You don't need to take, like, that's you doing that to yourself. I'm not asking you to take 300 fucking photos. I don't know the difference. People lose that kind of perspective of what it is that they're doing. Like,
I couldn't imagine. Like, I literally couldn't imagine. I was talking to another girl on OnlyFans, and was taking photos, and she literally was like, oh, do you want to send them to me and I'll like edit them? And I've gone, oh, to be honest, like I don't really edit my photos. I just upload them. And she's like, what? She's like, do you put them on like Snapchat and get a Snapchat filter or something? And I've gone, no, not really. And she's like, well, what do you do? And I'm going, well, like I will normally just change the brightness and the contrast. Like real rookie. And she's just like, oh, okay. And she was like shocked, and she's like, she spends like 7 hours editing her photos and stuff. And I'm like, fuck, like I couldn't imagine doing that. The only thing I do now is I edit my scars because of my surgery, which is still fading. But I literally had to Google like best editing apps to like download to edit like scars and shit. But other than that, like, I just can't be fucked.
So you didn't think that you would end up fucking on camera when you did the OnlyFans? Like, it wasn't a thing.
No.
So you just this whole thing has just developed with the platform, essentially based on what people wanted to see.
Pretty much, yeah. I just had an open mind to it all, really.
Yeah, and so what was the internal conversation then that you had to fuck for that first time or post like that style of shit?
So my first fuck video was shit because I didn't really know what I was doing. I just sort of was just like, well, here's the phone, like, let's film it sort of thing. But I did it with my boyfriend. And the conversation, I had OnlyFans. The first day we met, he knew that I had OnlyFans.
Yeah, so let's just go, let's do the partner, let's talk about how that all came about.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that was probably I guess some dudes don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But
it's one or the other, I reckon.
yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's either you don't care or you care. So the day that we met, I met through a mutual friend, met him through one of my closest friends, and she was seeing his best mate or one of his close friends, and we were out to the casino, like drinking, ran into them, whatever. I like didn't think anything of it. He didn't sweep me off my feet, to say the least. I was not really interested. I was like not interested in dating because I was doing OnlyFans and stuff too. So I'm like, it's going to be really hard. And then we just kept in touch. But when we were at the casino, the guy that she was seeing asked us about like how OnlyFans and stuff was going. So from the start, like he knew. And then when we continued to talk, like he would ask me like, are you on OnlyFans? Like, are you still doing it? Like, how's it all going? So I'm like, oh, like he kind of knows about it. And then started dating, started getting serious. He still had like no idea what I was doing on my OnlyFans. He never really asked. He sort of just was like, look, I like appreciate the hustle. Like, I get what you're doing. I get why you're doing it. Like, couldn't give a fuck what you do on it. Like, just don't let it get in the way of anything. Like, don't let it go to your head. Like, don't let it ruin who you are, sort of thing. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to, like, or whatever. And we sort of like had a chat about it, and that was sort of that. And then it wasn't until probably one of my videos, my solo videos, got on the internet, and one of his mates was like, I was on Pornhub watching this girl and I'm pretty sure she's your girlfriend. And he's just like, what the fuck? He's like, I just didn't think like that was the sort of shit you were doing. I'm like, well, what did you think I was doing? He's like, I knew that that's what you were doing, but I just didn't think, like, I think it's sunk in for him.
It's like real when your mates watching.
Yeah, when your mates just like half jacking off to your girlfriend. Yeah, right? And then he like on the phone, he's like, I'm just sitting here watching Pornhub, like pulling my dick and your girlfriend's in front of me. Like, what the fuck? And so I think like that sunk into him. So then it was like a bit awkward because I'm like, well, like the money's bullshit crazy and I'm not stopping it for you. So it was sort of like a really awkward, like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, well, if you don't like it, like you can fuck off because like I'm not
like
stopping.
This cash.
Yeah, right. So, and then he was like, no, it's all good, whatever. And then he sort of like realized, because after I sort of said like the money's really good, in my mind I'm like, I'm never going to pressure him to do it. That's not why I'm with him. Like, I couldn't really give a fuck about like if we do it on OnlyFans or not. It crossed my mind, like I knew the money would be good, but I was never going to bring it up to him. I was never going to put pressure on him. And to be honest, I kind of liked that we had like it separate. Yeah, and I liked that he knew what I did sort of, but didn't really like ask or push about it. And he was sort of just like, you know, what I don't know won't kill me sort of thing. And I liked that. So then eventually, I think one day we were just talking about it, and then we were just joking. Like, he always just makes fun of me. Just like, what'd you do all day? Just like finger your asshole or something. Like, just jokes about it. And then we were just like started talking about it, and then he's just like, and I was like, well, maybe one day we can like fuck on film for cash, sort of thing, like just as a joke. And he's like, how much money do you think we'd make? And I was just like, really? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, no, like we don't have to do it. Like, don't worry about it. And he's like, no, like just out of like curiosity, like, you know, what do you think? And I'm like, oh, I was like, if it's probably going to be a little bit better than like my solo videos, I said, I'd probably say that we could make like 20 grand. And he's just like, what? How long will it take to do that? I'm like, oh, probably in like 24 hours. And he's like, what? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, is that each or not? And I was like, oh, probably each. And he's just like, what the fuck?
So you cut him in on that shit?
Yeah, so I give him, I call it a co-star fee. But and he's like, really? And I was like, yeah, anyway. And then like we stopped talking about it because I started to feel bad because I don't know why. Like, I don't want it to like him to feel pressured like he has to do it because I'm doing it.
There's got to be a thing too. Like most guys, it's not the opposite. It's sort of the opposite effect. Like the guy wants to be like the breadwinner and that sort of shit, you know.
Yeah,
like, and it's like as much as it, you know, you can be cool about it. That is what the current model of society is. Yeah. And so I think for him, he was sort of, I think he deep down didn't want to get involved in it either. And I just said to him, I said, it's too complicated anyway, just with how OnlyFans pay and stuff. I was like, it's too hard to do. Like, and I said, and again, I was like, I'm making too much money. I ain't halving what I'm making with you, like, just to be completely honest. And then it was sort of left it at that. And then like, I think the next day or whatever, he called me and he's just like, oh, and he's like, so he's like, what do you want to do on the weekend? And I was like, well, and he's like, you want to fucking
to film for cash? And I was like, oh, yeah, I don't know, do you? And he's like, yeah, let's just give it a go. So, and then I think I still was sort of like, no, like it's too hard. And I kept pushing back. And then eventually he's just like, let's just do it. He's like, I don't want to do it. You haven't pressured me to do it. Like, I want to do it. I want to do it for the money. I want to do it with you. Like, I think it'll be fun. And then I had to sit him down. I'm like, right, like, repercussions. It's probably going to get put on fucking Pornhub. It's probably going to get leaked everywhere. Your mates are probably going to see it on Pornhub. Like, your dad's probably going to fucking see it. Like, you know, just stupid shit like that, but like real. And then I was in the back of my mind, I'm like, fuck, like my dad's probably going to find out about it. My sister's probably going to find out about it. It's probably going to get leaked on Facebook somewhere, and a family friend that I know is probably going to run into it. So it was like, I sort of thought about it and it all crossed my mind, but I really had to like lay it down to him, like, just so you know, like it's not as simple as like fucking on film for cash and getting the money. Like there's repercussions of it,
that
right?
It, yeah.
And he's like, no, it's all good. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So we filmed it, and the first one we did was so shit because like we just didn't know what we were doing. And to be honest, I just listened to what a lot of other people told me that they wanted, and they're just like, oh, just film it on your phone, like, you know, just real amateur shit, which is what people wanted, which is what we did. And yeah, we sold. I think we made like 17 grand each. Yeah, in 24 hours. And then I just said to him, like,
that's so fucked up. Like,
yeah.
Oh, power of the pussy.
Yeah,
it's
right.
fucking crazy.
So that was one of the first ones we did. I think we've done another one that was more like a little bit more, was close to 20. I think it was like 18 or 19 each. So yeah, and that's why we left it. Like, that's why when I said before, like it's just not as frequent, like it's just a little bit less, and it is what it is, because then we get like good money out of it. Like some, for whatever reason, just don't really sell that well. Like some we've only made like 4 or 5 grand each, but then others we've like hit big on. And I think average is like 8 or 9 grand each now if I can keep it to like 1 week. If I go a fortnight where I don't do anything and post it, it'll go up. It'll go to like your 15, you know, anywhere around there. So my first ones were always obviously quite popular because I hadn't done it before, so they were the first ones. But yeah, average can be like 10-ish is pretty good. So yeah, in 24 hours. And I basically had to say to him, like, the shit thing is that like if we do it, like you're going to get a shitload of money. But he taps in on like, so if I get a subscriber or if I get extra tips, he taps in on that because I can't control, like I can't filter it any other way. So he gets benefits from it. So we had to figure out, like, I said to him, I was like, we manage sometimes I have like heaps of subscribers. So I said, we'll manage it. Like if I get 100 or something, we won't worry. But if I get like 1,000 or something, like I'll minus that off the total. But then he gets in, like if someone tips me or whatever, subscribes, he gets that in the pool that he gets in the 24 hours. So that's his luck. But then to offset that is that if someone tips me in the future, wants a fuck video, he doesn't get any of it. I just send it. So that's why he gets 50% in the first 24 hours, which is like pretty good because he gets 50% of any money that I make in that 24 hours. Yeah. But then the downside is he doesn't get any ongoing like come back from that video or pay back from that video because it's fucking too hard to manage.
He's just a stunt cock though.
Yeah, pretty much.
Gotta know your place.
Yeah, that's what everyone says. Like, oh, are you replacing your stunt cock anytime soon? Yeah. I'm like, I don't know.
Fuck, you got lucky. You got a big dick though.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, that's another reason. That? That's another reason why I was like, we could probably do it because it's like not bad. But some people are like, oh, it's, you know, some people say like, can you get a bigger dick? And I'm like, mate, it's probably bigger than yours. Just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone's just like, you know, some people want me to fuck a black guy or like get a bigger dick, or some people want me to find something more realistic, a bit smaller. Like, you know, everyone wants something different. But yeah, it's actually not a bad dick.
yeah, you got fucking
which is
lucky
good.
there.
Yeah,
you get some little turnip or carrot.
Yeah,
something like that.
It wouldn't have been my boyfriend if that's the case.
yeah, fair enough. Are you a sexual person? Would you say?
No, not really.
See, that's what's bizarre.
No. I'm not. People think I'm like this walking around like horn bag, like just like crazy horny, and like I'm like the furthest from it. Like literally I go to bed at 8 o'clock every night. Like before I met my boyfriend, I was single for like 2.5 years or something, and I hadn't had sex in like 9 months. So it's not really like a thing for me. I could have happily have gone longer.
So is that why maybe this shit works for you in a way? It's because you just kind of you're not that sexual. So you can be very objective about what you're doing.
Yeah, I think so. And it definitely doesn't get in the way of like my life or anything. I can just literally look at it as a business. Like I need to do this, this and this, and I just do it. So I think my acting skills have gotten better because of it. But like other than that, like it's just, for me, it's like, I just do it. Like it's some stuff's enjoyable, like some stuff I like doing, but then like I don't really read into like what people say or like comments or anything like that either, because I just don't get like emotion, like I'm not invested in it. Like I just sort of do it and then that's it, and then I can literally just like go on with my everyday life outside of my OnlyFans. It doesn't affect me, it doesn't change me, but yeah, I'm like so unhorny, it's not funny if that's the word for it. I literally, and I think to be honest, OnlyFans makes me like less horny, because it's like
you see the realities of sex,
and it's just like people send me dick pics, like the amount of dicks I've seen, I'm just like, oh, like looking at another dick, I'm like, oh my god, and I have to look at another dick.
I can't even imagine that shit though.
It's so fucked up, like, but it makes me appreciate, like when someone sends me a dick pic, I'm like, this is actually a good dick, like well done. And then someone sends me a shit dick and I'll just say like, oh, it's got a little bit of a bend, like it's a bit short, like it's not that good. 5 out of 10.
I wonder how many dudes just genuinely don't know if they got a good dick though.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that's probably part of the dick pic thing?
So I like, people tip me for dick pics, $10 for a dick pic, and it's quite common. And I'll find most guys straight away, the message that they send, like you can tell. So most guys would be like, love you to rate my dick, or like you just know that they're like confident.
Fishing, yeah.
They're confident in their dick, right? But then some other guys will be like, oh, like, you know, if I send you a photo of my dick, like, will you give me an honest review? And I'm like, great, he's got a small dick. It probably
sucks.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh,
if
fuck,
you want
here we
an
go.
honest review of your dick, it sucks.
Yeah, so it's like you can tell straight away. And most people, I feel like, when, I don't know, I think it's just me maybe, but most people when they ask like, will you be honest about it, like they already know that they got a small dick, and giving them like a 9 out of 10 because they got a small dick is going to make them feel worse. So it's like I'll normally just say like, oh, but like this is good, but this, and like maybe like, you know, do this, or like, yeah,
you got a chance to be real good at eating pussy.
Use your fingers, you'll do better.
Be like, man, you need to really
work on some other stuff. So I normally will try and like give constructive criticism, like, you know, like just
if you
like
can't dunk,
shave
shoot 3-pointers.
and like
you can still make money.
Like I'll try and like be nice to them about certain things. And some guys know, some guys like, oh, I have a small dick, like I want you to tell me if it's the smallest dick you've ever seen. Like some guys will literally like,
that's heartbreaking as a fucking man.
But some guys like it. So there's a thing called what's it called, small dick humiliation.
Yes,
it's like a thing, but it's weird because some guys send me like their dicks and they're like real small, and I'm like, I'm not going to humiliate you because you got a small dick. Like I actually feel sorry for you. And they're like,
what's
no.
like the smallest dick?
Oh, like I've seen one that's literally like just the head outside. Like there was no shaft. No.
Fuck.
No, there was like literally, and he like literally had his thumb next to it, and his thumb was like double the size. Yeah.
Fuck.
And I literally asked him, because those guys who do it, they sort of know anyway. And they like, I don't even know if it's a fucking problem or like if it's a thing, but like I've probably seen like 3 or 4 like that.
Yeah,
like,
aren't they called a micro penis?
Yeah, I think there's actually like something, like there's like a deformity, or like there's got to be something, because like they're all sort of the same. Yeah. And they're all like, they're literally just
it's like people with Down syndrome.
Yeah, it's literally like they missed a cell or fucking something, right? Fuck. So I think there is actually but
there's a thing that's like with Down syndrome, like that's
oh really? Yeah, because it's all the same. Like but I feel like it's the same for this. Like I feel like there's literally like, for anyone who's got a small dick, like all of the dicks are the same sort of thing, like with the really small ones, and they all know it, and they all sort of like are like, I find like the ones with the small ones are always the one who want to like tip me, and they want to hear like it's not that small sort of thing, like it's not the smallest one I've seen, just to like help them. I'm like, yeah, it's small, but it's not that small sort of thing. Like they know that it's small and they've accepted it, but like fuck. Yeah. I didn't even know. It's full on. Like,
it's a bummer.
And then I get some guys who have shit dicks, and I'll be like, yeah, it's like a 6 out of 10. And they're like, fuck off, this is like a 9. And I'm like, mate, that's not a 9.
It's like, easier to live your life knowing it's a 6 than thinking it's a 9.
Yeah, right. Like, I'm like, you're probably talking such a big game to so many girls online, and then they're going to come and like, it's like bent and like crooked, or got like a fucking zigzag in it or something. Like, it's just gross. Or it like hangs down, and like, it's just fucked. It's disgusting.
Because that's the thing, is like, when you got porn, you just see good big dicks,
right? Yeah.
So like, and it's kind of fucked up if you don't have that, right?
If you don't have like a good one, if you can't
relate to a good dick, then it's like you sort of don't, because that's probably the thing, is like that they probably don't really know what's out there, because you're you want to talk about like female beauty standards.
Yeah.
How about the fucking dick standards
Yeah,
of
right.
porn? They're all the fucking same.
Literally. And I do feel sorry for some guys, because some guys, like, if they've got like a bend or like it goes up, down, left or right, like some guys will be like self-conscious about it. But it's like, I don't know, like bends and stuff are all right, but there are just some out there that are like just gross. Like there are some that like start real big and like go real skinny and like just weird ones. And they're the ones that I don't like. But yeah, I've had a few people who have been like a 6 or a 7, and because I have seen so many, like I feel like I'm a very fair person. Like if you've got a good one, I'll tell you you've got a good one. If you've got a shit one, I'll be like, it's not the best one that I've seen.
Fuck, here's an app.
It's no good.
Like there's an app in this. Rate my dick.
Rate my dick.
I feel like that's what we should do.
No, because I hate looking at them.
No, but I'm not saying you have to personally look at them. I'm saying like maybe we get some OnlyFans creators.
Maybe it has like a
dicks.
template, and if it doesn't fit in the template, you're like rated off at like girth and like length and stuff.
Yeah, right. Because man, but it's not even OnlyFans chicks. Like the amount of chicks that I've been with that have said like the dick pics they get is fucking out of control.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
like every chick is inundated with dicks.
Yeah, every girl would have got like a dick pic of some like description along the lines. It's just what it is. Like I hate, like when I used to like date and stuff, like even when I was like dating people, like if you send me a dick pic, like you're going down in my books, right? Like if you send me, even if we're like talking dirty or like something, if you like have sent me one and I'm not asking for it, like you are like nowhere, you're out, because like dicks are gross. I also don't like to see dicks before I like get to it. So it's like, if you sort of spoil the surprise, I'm less interested. Even if it is a nice dick, I'm sort of like, well, I've seen it now, so it's like shit. Like I'm not really interested in it anymore. Like I would have been excited to see it beforehand when I was coming over, but now I sort of like know what I'm getting in for. I can wait until next week, sort of thing. Like that's how I think. And so it's like if you send me something that I'm not asking for, like it's like nah. So yeah, like I'll literally like stop talking to someone if they do it, and they could be doing everything else right. Like my boyfriend didn't send me a dick pic. That's probably why I ended up talking to him longer than probably what I thought I would, because he just didn't do any of that seedy shit. So yeah, for me, it's like the people who send it to you when you don't ask for it, and the people who send it to you thinking that it's going to be great, are the ones who are just like, it's just no good.
There's a weird thing with this whole world is that I think it gives people an outlet. Like I'm sort of glad these kind of platforms exist, in the sense that like there's some desperate guys out there like that just they can't get chicks, or like imagine being a dude that's got a dick like what you said, where it's like just the head, and then you're going out to a bar and then you find a nice girl, like fuck, like can you imagine that shit? And it's all well and good. Like in theory, it shouldn't matter. You know, like you're a good person, you're this, you're that, whatever. Like that's all well and good. But there's some certain physics behind this shit that, you know, certain people want, like need certain things to feel good. It is what it is. But like if there's no outlet for these guys to express any of this frustration or you know, any of this sort of shit that they've got going on internally. And like, have you ever heard about Japan, or like have you ever been to Tokyo? Or
I went there actually a couple of years ago.
Like, have you ever heard about like the repressed sexual culture that they've got in Japan? Because everything's so censored. And I remember going into a sex shop and it was censored. And I remember watching, like up on the top level they had porn and it was all censored. And I remember that they had like dildos and stuff, but they had like covers, or like the dildo section was like blocked, like you had to like go through like sheets or something to get in there. Like they weren't just openly like laying around in the sex shop, because it was like dicks and like stuff were behind the curtain sort of thing. It was really weird. But then like they had like, there was girls and like stuff, and they had like their tits out and stuff, so it was like sort of weird. But there's like a culture in, like it's like a Japanese culture. It's very sexually repressive, but then some of the weirdest sexual shit happens in Japan. And I feel like the more repressed that you try and force on, like the more, I guess, like just repression that you try and put around sex or any kind of taboo. Like the more taboo you make something, you kind of, the further you go left, the further right it springs. And it's sort of for guys that don't have an outlet or can't really like get girls or whatever. Like there needs to be a place for that. And a place where you're not getting ostracized, you're not getting judged, you're not treated differently. Like that's the one thing, you sound like you treat everybody nice, and you're very nice to the people that are nice to you. And there's probably, you know, a guy with this like that's a fucking tiny dick. Like, there's probably not a lot of girls being nice to him.
Yeah,
you
probably
know?
not. Yeah,
and it's sort of important in a way. And I think that that's sort of one of the things that frustrates me with the criticisms of these kind of platforms. Is that it's like, we fucking need this shit, man. Like, there's fucking people out there. Like, there's so many weird fetishes that guys have. Like, guys that like to be extorted, guys that are married that want to be, like, financially, like, have, like, financial extortion, and guys that want shit fucking mailed to them. It's like, if none of this shit exists, and you can't be a guy that's got one of those, like, dude's probably super fucking normal. Got good dude, nice, like, good dad, great husband, weird as fuck. Yeah. And he can't express it to his wife, or he can't express it to whatever. So he goes online, finds some fucking chick, orders her panties, pays for her to, like, piss on some stuff. Like, and then he can go about his life. But it's like, imagine if there was no outlet for that guy and he couldn't do anything. Like, that's a pretty sad existence for that person. Then.
And I think that's what I picked up from the very start was like there's so many different people, like the foot people and the stuff that I got like straight off the bat when I started OnlyFans. I was like, oh fuck, like, okay, like if this person wants that, then I'll give it to them. And it was sort of like understanding that everyone's different, like what I said before about how everyone looks at a video and how everybody interprets shit. Like everybody, like it's the platform that everybody is like, everyone goes for the same thing but is pleased differently, if that makes sense. So it's like, it's so important to make sure that everybody's getting that. Like I've sent like bikinis and undies and stuff like that because there's people out there that want that stuff. So and I'm understanding to that, and you know, I do subscribe to a lot of girls OnlyFans page, like just for research and my own sort of understanding. And a lot of girls don't really, like, they're all quite, it's all about them. Like they don't reply to messages. They just send out photos and stuff all the time. Like they don't spend the time for the fans and stuff like that. So it's quite easy because it can get hard. So it's quite easy for them just to think that OnlyFans is just about them. But yeah, it's not really. Like, I know some people quite well on my OnlyFans that I've been messaging since day one. And I also know a lot of people who, you know, who, for example, haven't, like there's one guy who's been on my page for a while and he hasn't had sex in 12 years. Purely because he like doesn't want to have sex with anyone. He wants to have sex with like a girl that he likes, and he just can't find a girl that he likes.
See, like,
so he's just like,
that's not,
and he's not like
not
unnormal.
bad.
Yeah, like he lives in Sydney, like normal dude, like works in a warehouse, like like there's nothing weird or creepy about him. Like he's just a normal dude, but he's just like literally can't be fucked to fuck another girl who's just like for no reason, and he just literally like doesn't have sex. So it's like, okay, whatever, floats your boat. Like I was like that. I went 9 months just recently, so it's like I'm the same. I couldn't be fucked. Like I'm just like thinking about dating and shit. I just couldn't be bothered.
Well, yeah, this has been the longest I've gone without sex in a long time.
Yeah,
because it got fucking like, I think, and especially like living here, like on the Goldie, I live in Burleigh, like right in Burleigh. Yeah. And it's just like, I just see this constant parade of guys and chicks and trying to fuck, and you know, you get around certain guys and all they're talking about is who they fucked and who they're trying to fuck, and they fucked it. And it's just like this. And I mean, man, when I lived in America, I was fucking bad. Like I had an accent, you know, going out, lived in Hollywood. It was a great time. And I look back now and I'm home and I'm working a lot and I'm just like, fuck, man, like the time I wasted on this shit. You know, and crazy. It's like, all I've got now is stories to tell other fucking horny dudes. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, I have so many guys like message me, like reach out to me and go, oh, like, you know, I've been talking to this girl and like she won't come over. Like, what do you think I should do? I'm like, just fucking relax. Like, you don't need to get her over. Like, she's obviously not coming over because she doesn't want to do it. Like, she obviously feels pressured or something, you know? Like, you tell these guys, and so many guys feel the pressure to like, to fuck and to be like, because I think they're talking to me and they think because like, I'm fucking all the time on film and they're watching it, like they think that I fuck all the time. Guru. Yeah, and that I'm like some guru, but it's just like, just chill. Like I don't fuck all the time. Like, and even if I wasn't with my boyfriend, trust me, I would not be fucking. Like it's like the last thing on my mind because it is time consuming. And I like hate giving that, like, I think maybe without sounding like stuck up, it's because of like who I am. Like I don't want to give anyone like that title. Like if that sounds bad, like I'm just going to fuck anyone for the sake of it. Like you've got to be like pretty like important to me or like pretty up there to like get anywhere near me, let alone to be able to like have that like intimate relationship with me.
I've been thinking the same.
That's like I'm so up. I'm not even up myself, but it's true though, because like it is like once you give that away to someone, like they could go to their mate and go like, oh yeah, she fucking put out pretty easy, like, like it takes one person to ruin everything in your reputation. So it's like, can literally count on two hands and have like leftover fingers on how many people I've slept with. So it's like, I don't like fuck anyone for the sake of it, because it's just, I just can't be bothered. But for guys, it's a lot different. I feel like there's a big pressure to like fuck all the time.
There's a social currency involved in it, and there's definitely like this alpha male kind of hierarchy. And look, I'll be completely honest, like, it was impressive to people that I wanted to impress. Like there was a means to it, and I'd go into a club with like big business people that I was like mates with, trying to get contracts with. Like, we're all friends, and it was this kind of thing, and that they were responsible for providing us with a lot of work. And I'd be like, who? Tell me who. What chick are we talking to? You know what I mean? And it became this fucking thing that we did, and there was a currency involved in that shit. Like, I got fucking clout based on that shit. And it fucking helped my career. And
it's how it is, though.
You see, I hope I don't sound like a fuckhead.
No,
I mean, I was in my 20s as well.
No, I feel like for guys, like, I have a lot of guy mates from like racing and stuff that I've been friends with for ages. So for me, I'm sort of like used to, like,
that
I would have mates who like literally, it's like, what Tinder date are you going on this week? Like, who you fucking this week? Like, I'm like sort of used to it, and I get that. Like, I think I've had a lot of time to think about it. I think guys go through like because they mature a little bit later and stuff. I feel like every guy like has to, like, the whole fucking thing is like something that like makes them. Like, I feel like if, like, even, like your time, overseas, like that made you, like, in a way, like it made you realize that you don't want to do it. And I feel like for some guys it might take only 3 chicks to realize that. I feel like some guys it might take 50, some guys it might take 100 or 200, or
some guys just don't get there.
And exactly, that's the thing though, like some guys are still searching for it because that's the only thing that makes them feel good about themselves, because they don't feel good about themselves any other way than when they're balls deep in another chick. So it's like, I feel like every guy has that thing to like make themselves like feel good or like find themselves, and every guy goes through it when they're like 20, because it's like, you're a male and you're sort of like in this world, and it's sort of like you're looking for something, and some guys find it like sooner than others. There's
a validation that comes into it as well, and like I definitely you'd have like, oh, this is the kind of girl you can get, and then you literally just based yourself, like the image of how you looked to the outside world, based on that. Like, this is like a 1-to-1. If I bang this chick that looks like this and has got this and is this person and whatever, then that instantly bumps me up to there. But it's just fucking super shallow. It's super hollow, and then it's just never enough. Because then who's the fucking next chick? And then you're like, oh yeah, bang this chick with 300,000 followers. Oh, okay. It's a weird game.
And I feel like everyone goes through, like guys go through that, especially chicks go through it in a different way with them, like with their like pecking order and stuff. It's like a bit different.
For chicks?
Oh, for me, I'm like the sort of the wrong person to ask, because I'm like, don't really classify myself a chick half the time. I like grew up with the boys when I was younger, but I feel like for girls their validation is more like within themselves, and I feel like it's who looks the best, and it's not just who they're fucking, it's like what boyfriend they can have and who they can actually secure,
how they get treated,
and how they actually can secure that guy and how he looks after her and all that sort of stuff. So it's not necessarily about who you're with, but it's like the one that you are with, how good they are, and how they treat you, how much money they spend on you, like what they're doing to you or for you, and then also it's like I think when I went to school and stuff, it was all about like the job that you had and the boyfriend that you had like made you like cool. Like if if you had a boyfriend, if you went with him in school and you were with him for ages, like you were cool because you had a boyfriend for ages, and you had a really good job and you were getting a good job out of uni or whatever, and you're still with the same boyfriend, like people thought more of you or whatever. I think that was just the school that I went to, and that means like I didn't have a boyfriend and I fucking didn't have a job. I was racing cars, so it's like I was like, everyone was like looking at me like, what are you doing with your life? Like, sort your shit out. So for me, I think my growing up was a bit different, and I think just being a part of the boys. But I think like girls these days especially, it's like, if you have a boyfriend, how like who that is, how well they take care of you, how much money they spend on you, and that sort of shit, I think is more like pecking order. Like so many girls out here like getting boyfriends, spending heaps of money on them, flexing fucking in their AMGs and stuff, and it's just like that's what makes them cool, I guess, which is like weird.
The weird thing is like it's we're not in control of the imagery that we see. So like for example, I was never like a butt dude.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Wasn't a thing. You look at all my girlfriends that I've had, and I've fucking dragged out all like I've had a million. Like my probably 4 long-term girlfriends that I've had all look pretty similar.
Yeah.
Like very fit, like just literally similar build to me,
Yeah.
if that makes sense,
Yeah.
you know? Fucking last time got single, Instagram, just want to fuck a chick with a nice ass.
Yeah.
First time in my life. And I literally was like, dude, you've literally been, like, you've been changed. The things that you now find attractive
Yep.
have been changed. You
Yep.
never thought this was attractive before.
Yeah.
All I can put that down to, fucking Instagram.
Yeah.
Like, what else?
Yeah.
You know, you get told what is.
Yeah, what's good and what you need. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I think I'm probably not. I don't really give a shit. Like you see, like for me, I follow a lot of other girls, and you know, I wouldn't say I'm really influenced by a lot of other girls, but I follow a lot of them to see what they're influenced by, and then try and like make my page like appropriate to like follow, so they follow me, sort of thing. I don't know, like I try and like not copy, but try and be current, I guess you could say. But I find a lot of girls will literally, like, you post one girl who sort of like is semi-influential, and she'll post someone and then all of a sudden, or something, and then all of a sudden everyone else sort of like copies and like follows, and then all of a sudden I'm following like 5 people and they're all posting and doing similar shit. So I sort of get like how it's easy, because it's like one person's doing it, then all of a sudden heaps of other influencers are doing it, and then all of a sudden all I see in my feed is like similar sort of shit, you know. So it's like it's easy to get like influenced or told. But to be honest, like if I like followed half the chicks that I like follow on Instagram, like they're all fucking skinny, like size 6, like anorexic looking, and it's like here I am getting a BBL and trying to like put weight on and look fatter and thicker. And
But that's a fucking thing now too. Like I was never into that, and I'm into that shit way more than I used to be.
Yeah. I feel like it's still becoming like, I feel like I still get a lot of slack because people think that I'm like fat. I think maybe it's because my demographic maybe is slightly like older, like I am still in that 30-40 year range. I still have a lot of them. I have a lot of 20 guys in their 20s who like it, but then I have a lot of guys that are that little bit older, and I think they're that older demographic where you're 30-40, you grew up thinking that size 6 was like skinny. But like I look at some chicks,
that's why I feel like I'm right on the verge of that.
Yeah.
And I'm like just being
you take a little bit longer to get there.
Like I'm like the Baywatch kind of
Yeah.
like that to me. If I could probably go back to what was hot to me back in like, or when I first realized what hot was.
Yeah.
Literally, this is fucking Britney Spears,
Yeah.
Christina Aguilera,
Yeah.
Pamela Anderson.
Yeah.
That's fucking what hot was to
Yeah.
me in terms of what I got told.
Yeah, so that's sort of like the body, and I feel like there's some girls like floating around Instagram now that are still like that super skinny like look. And to be honest, like I've never, like I know that I'm not skinny, but I've never wanted to be skinny. Like a lot of people, like when I raced and stuff, like everyone was like, you need to be skinnier, you need to be, I'm like, fuck that. Like I don't want to be skinnier. Like I don't want to be any smaller than what I am. Like
What's the thinking there?
I don't know. Like I just never.
Just like to eat.
Yeah, like I honestly look at skinny people and think like, life must be hard. Like I don't know. Like are you strong? Like do you feel good? Like I look at super skinny chicks and I'm like, you can't really, like I don't know, I'm well fed and I'm like strong, I'm happy, like I don't really get tired that much, like I'm mentally fit, like physically I feel good, I'm strong, like I don't have any issues with how I am now, right? And it's sort of like I look at girls who are like skinny and like probably skinnier than what they should be, and I'm just like, fuck, life must be hard. Like you must be, like you must have like your thinking must be cloudy, like something's got to be up, like to be, you can't function at like being that skinny. So for me it's sort of like I look at skinny chicks and I think it's gross and I feel sorry for them a little bit. I'm like, there must be something that like there must be repercussions to looking like that sort of thing. I know some girls are naturally skinny.
I was gonna say, like me, I literally eat a block of chocolate a night. No shit.
I know some people like you just can like do that and
Yeah.
it's fine. And I get that some chicks are like that, but then I also see chicks who are like,
They were killing themselves together.
yeah, and they're all posting in the gym and they're like super like all about fitness and health and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, man, like it must be taking a toll on you. Like it would have to be. And then I look at some chicks who are like naturally skinny and I'm just like, lucky you. But
I guess it just depends the reason that you're doing it, because it's like if you're going to the gym every day just to look hot, that probably is a torturous process.
yeah, this would be fucked.
But
I couldn't imagine.
if you're going to the gym because you're a fucking beast and you love to lift and you like that shit, and it's not about the
everything
there's
else.
not like a result, then do what you want. But I guess it's just like, what do you influence? Like what is the influence that is behind you trying to be X or Y, you know?
Yeah, I've never liked the skinny frail look. Not because I can't get skinny. I mean, like, if I've just never had the, like my sister, for example, she would wish that she's a size 6 tomorrow. Like she would do anything to get there, but she's not. Like me, like I would like happy to be a size 10 or a size 12 like any day of the week. Like I think that's better. I don't know why. It's just, and I look at guys too, and I look at some guys on both ends, like super skinny guys, and I'm just like, well, you know, obviously that's just who you are. And then I look at some guys who are like, you know, big and they're just like oversized and just look ridiculous, and I'm like, man, that must like suck, like have to feel like you have to get that big for what? Like, what are you getting that big for? Like, why do
Like
you back?
gym tone?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
just
yeah.
massive dudes. Like, why you have to take that many steroids? Why you have to pretend that it's the BCAAs or whatever that you're taking? Like, why are you going to get there?
It's
Like,
that good protein.
yeah, right. It's all the eggs that you're drinking in the morning. Like, I feel sorry for them too. It's the same thing. Like, and I feel sorry for guys who follow these guys and like think that that's like normal.
Yeah.
And you see some dudes who are just like huge and they're just all day in the gym, like taking all these supplements and stuff. And I'm like, how can't you not feel like how does that make you feel good? Like knowing that you just have to go to that extreme. I don't know. Like,
yeah, but then so if you want to talk about that, just to play devil's advocate here, what about like doing a Brazilian butt lift or fake tits or fake anything for that matter then?
yeah, I guess it's sort of the same thing, but I feel like for guys it's like that, at something like that it's like when do you sort of stop? I mean, it's probably different for me because I could probably say the same thing, but I know when to stop. Like, I'm sort of like, it's not like I went too big or anything like that. So I guess it's a bit different, and they probably think that they're not going too big either. But you see some dudes and they're just fucking massive and you're like, whoa, like when's
enough?
Yeah,
enough?
like how like you just take a week off the gym and just relax a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's probably like, I know that there's some chicks out there that probably go past the point, and people probably think I've gone past the point too. But yeah, it's probably the same sort of thinking. But some guys who just like religiously in the gym and like trying to like find that like thing that makes them feel good, I think. I don't know. And then it's the same with chicks. They're sort of like trying to find that thing that makes them feel good because of the way they look or something. I don't know. If it's religious and you can sort of see that they're like trying so hard to like have this image, is when I sort of feel sorry for them.
Yeah, I think that it's definitely, people should be able to do what they want to do.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
and even if you are doing it out of insecurity, that's still your right to do that.
Yeah.
But I feel like people should just try and be objective.
Yeah, I feel like if there wasn't social media and stuff, there's a lot of people that would probably go a lot less further.
Yeah.
There'd be
100%.
there wouldn't be as big of guys out there, and there wouldn't be skinny chicks out there. I think people would relax a little bit.
Well, then too, like someone like that's just doing as good as you out there has got to make people think like, fuck, I could do that too.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, I guess it's just the way that fucking shit is.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you see people out there that have got a thing. I guess people just need to realize that they're enough.
Yeah. I think that's why I'm like, I think I'm pretty lucky, and I think that's why some people like me, is because it's sort of like I give that like vibe that I'm sort of pretty chill, like don't really care what people think. Like, fuck, if I
You
cared,
do come across like that. I will give you that.
if I cared what people think, I would hate to think, like, I probably would have killed myself by now.
I was going to say, like, have you had any like real down days through this whole journey?
Not really. I think the biggest thing would be probably when I started racing Bathurst. I think I think it wasn't Bathurst. I'm just trying to think when it is, but I remember I went through like a thing where it's like I was trying to. So everybody thought because I was a chick that I got things handed to me on like a silver platter, but it actually was the complete opposite. Like I actually had to work a lot harder and I had to prove myself a lot more. And everyone's like, oh, fucking whatever. Like you got long hair and tits. Like you got given things, right?
There's probably literally the further left you go, like the more that you probably did get given because you were a woman, then on the opposite spectrum, there is an opposite to that.
Yeah.
So the benefit that you got from that, there's some other shit that would have been way fucking harder.
Yeah,
so
like
it all offsets.
I got attention, and a lot of people would like stop and look. But then, like, I had lots of people. Like, I had opportunities given to me because I was a girl. But then I had a lot of opportunities that people would never give me because I was a girl.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like people think that I got every opportunity under the sun, and I was so lucky. But it's actually, I find, being a female when I was racing, it was so much harder to get people to take me seriously. And once people took me seriously, I would generally found it was an okay relationship or would develop into a good relationship like what I had with like my major sponsors. But in the beginning, like to get there and for them to like take me seriously and for them to like come on board probably took more. Like they would ask questions that they probably wouldn't ask a boy. Like, are you dating anybody? Are you planning on having a family? Like all that sort of shit, you know? So it's like I got asked and would probably get put to a test more than what any other male probably would have. And I think I went through a stage where when I had Bathurst and everything, like no one really knew how hard that deal was to put together. And everybody thinks like when I race, like we'll go in there to win. Like fucking as if I'm going there to win a Bathurst 1000. Like we're literally just doing it for attention, doing it for sponsorship and hope that we can raise enough funds to do it next year. Like people don't really see the side of it. And people like supercars, motorsport, a lot of sport is advertising and is money making and you monetize from it as much as you can. A lot of people don't realize that. And I think I went through a stage where it was like I got so over like people thinking that things were easy. Like my racing schedule and my results were critiqued more than anyone else that I knew of. So like when I went to Bathurst and went to everything, like they set like if you're not this far off the pace, like we're not going to be happy. Like they set like goals and stuff for me to achieve, which they weren't setting for anybody else. So it's like they were pretty much like, yeah, you're a chick, but like people are probably going to think you're shit, so you can't be shit, so here's the fucking what you got to do. So it's like,
which you probably just wanted to be good anyway.
Yeah, but it's like do you think I'm going to do this and be shit at it? Like it's like, what do you sort of think? So I think I went through a stage, and then like when Bathurst came, like people throwing beer cans at me and telling me to go kill myself and stuff like that. That's when I was weird. Sort of like just over it. I didn't really take it personally because like I'm not going to listen to somebody who doesn't like have any idea of what's going on. But I more just was like, why am I doing this? Like, why the fuck would I, like, why am I, like, putting all this time and effort in, going all this effort, like, doing all of everything I physically can to get fucking beer cans thrown at me and get people, like, tell me that I'm shit and go kill myself. So it's like literally just, what's the point? Like, I'd rather just go work a normal job 9 to 5 and just have no one know who I am and not get beer cans thrown at me. So I probably went through a little, like, thing where I was just like, it's not worth it. But again, like, I think I just never really, like, cared what people think. I don't know, it's just how I've grown up. I don't know, like even like my comments and stuff when I was young, that's why my manager never let me run my Facebook stuff, but I would still go on and read all the comments, and I find it funny. I don't know why. I think my thinking is that I love the fact that someone can not like me so much that they have to comment. Yeah. Like that's like the ultimate power. That's how I look at it. I don't know, that's how I've always looked at it, that I have such control and power over these people, whether they like me or not, that they actually have to tell me how much they don't like me. And it's like they think they're winning from being mean, but really I don't even know who this person is, and I've actually won because you're commenting on my shit anyway. So it's like, that's how I've always looked at it. I don't know why, I don't know how that sort of thinking process got into my head, but I've sort of always thought, whenever I've read something mean, I'm like, I laugh because I'm like, this person probably thinks they're being real nasty, but like really I just feel so good about it because it's like they hate me that much and they don't even know me, that they have to comment and tell me how much they hate me or how useless I am. So it's like, for me, it's actually like I read it and I'm like, oh fuck yeah, like sucked in, like sucks that you feel that way about me and I'm not even trying to make you feel like that. It's sort of how I look at it. Yeah,
that is the perspective to have.
Yep.
I mean, I remember when I first, my first big episode of this, like the first episode I did that had over 100,000 downloads, I got fucking roasted. Like, so fucking torched. It was out of control. And it was with Chad Reed, and it was just like, that guy was my fucking hero growing up, and then everyone thinks I'm a fuckhead and that Chad doesn't like me. I was just like, and I just was reading it, and literally it took me one episode, and I was just like, oh, fuck this.
Yeah.
Fuck this.
Yeah.
I can't live in this place.
Yeah. People ask me all the time, they're like, what do you think about the comments? And I feel like sort of saying like, well, like, what do you think about it? Like, why are you reading it? Like, what are you getting out of it? Because I think people don't realize that I think what they're getting out of it is they're getting some sort of satisfaction, whether it's making themselves feel better about the person who's commenting or whatever. But it's like, when I look at it, it's the same thing. Like, when I read the comments, I'm reading it because I want to feel good about myself or laugh or like whatever. Exactly. Some people think that you go into it like, I don't know anybody who reads their comments because they want to feel sad or down. Like, if you're scared of reading comments, you just don't read them, right? And then, like, if you have a bad experience like you where you're like, fuck, I'm getting roasted, you just don't read them again, and you sort of give yourself a bit of time to recover and you read them again, right? So I think for me, it's like, if I ever read my comments, it's like, I don't go in there like trying to get upset or like thinking that people are mean.
You shouldn't even want to go in trying to be happy about it.
Yeah, it's like I just sort of read just to see, like, some people, like, I actually really like reading my comments or comments on stuff sometimes because I think some people are really funny. Like, some people
that is true.
So creative with their comments. Like, I actually get, like, I read a lot of comments from other shit too because I actually get, like, some people are so funny. I'm like, fuck, this person deserves a medal. Like, some people are so creative. I've actually run a competition ages ago on my Facebook when I was racing because I used to love some of the comments that people would say. I actually ran a competition and I think I uploaded like a photo. I'm like, best comment wins. And I still do it to this day, like on my OnlyFans and shit, because it's like some people, the way their minds work are just so clever. Yeah, it's my favorite.
YouTube is the best.
Yeah.
YouTube for whatever reason just has these fucking gangsters that can just say the funniest shit. Like, when I was filming in America, we did this one shoot and our audio dude fucked up. And then the first comment was this recorded on a toaster? And I'm just like, you fucking win. You win. Like, I could not have thought of that, and I can't fucking beat that.
Yeah, it's like, so good. Some people are so creative. My sister, I actually get her on it sometimes because every now and then, like, she'll read a funny comment and like she'll send it to me, and like I'll find another funny comment and like we'll have like comment offs, like we'll try and find like the best comment sort of thing. It's so funny. And then even like just on random shit, like she'll be scrolling through like YouTube and she gets into like the black hole of YouTube and she's on like this random video and she'll literally like screenshot and send me this comment that someone said, and it's just so funny. So when I go on my stuff, that's one of the main reasons why I go on, like, to see who's funny as fuck and like who's written something really funny. Because some people like in motorsport, I find, are like, they always refer back to like events and like, you know, like things that have happened. And so it's just always interesting to see like how creative someone can get. So yeah, for me, my comments, my sister like tries to make me, she's like, you should be more interactive on your comments and stuff like that.
On like Instagram or
on Instagram. And like, I can't do it. Like I did it.
If you're doing 60 hours a week on OnlyFans.
Yeah. If I'm.
You ain't got time for that.
Yeah. She's like, you need to like reply to people. I'm like, if I reply to people, I'm just going to fucking roast them. Like, if someone replies like stupid, I'll like reply something back and like try and like get something out of them. And she's like, no, just like the comment or like just say like haha or something like that. I'm like, no, like I want to keep going with this person, because like if someone's like condescending or like, you know, smart ass, like I'll like say something back, but like I'll say it in a way that I haven't like, that they don't think that I'm laughing, and like try and get something back, and then I'm like, yeah, I got him, and then like I just like get in an argument back and forth, like, and my sister hates it. She's like, you can't do that. She's like, yeah, these people are following him. Like, he's not a fan, he's fucking roasting me. I'm like, fuck him. Like, and I just get in an argument.
Of them.
Yeah, it's fine.
You can lose one or two.
And so I'm like, no, I'm just gonna get into like a roasting battle with him, and I just like, yeah, I love doing that sort of stuff. But I guess like my sense of humor as well, this is another thing that my sister tells me, is that my sense of humor and like the type of person that I am doesn't come across on Instagram very well.
Yeah.
So like the real me, like I'm quite like dry humored, like I can be pretty like,
you seem dark.
Yeah, I can be. So it's
you
like,
seem dark.
And I can be like, my sense of humor is always like quite I don't know, like dry, or like I try and be like sarcastic, or like like if someone says, I'm like, whoa, like just fucking relax. Like I try and be like real sarcastic and like just like, I don't know, I can't explain it, but it pisses people off sometimes at the best of times, let alone like on Instagram and stuff. It doesn't really come across. Like when I'm trying to be like joking or something, someone thinks that I'm being like full serious, and I'm like, I'm actually laughing while I'm writing this, calm down.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing for me. That's why I don't really comment on a lot of my shit. And a lot of people think like, on my Instagram, so many people think like, oh, like you're so defensive, or like, oh, why you got to like roast this person, or like, oh, why you got to be a bitch for them? Like, I'm actually doing it just for laughs.
It's fun, yeah.
Like I'm actually hoping that you say something funny back, and like that, you're not really getting my sense of humor, and you think that I'm being a bitch, but I gave it a go anyway.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
There's a Buddhist, like a Buddhist philosophy that if something can't actually make you happy if, like, say the opposite thing was said and it makes you sad. So true happiness can't actually be taken away.
Yeah.
And I've related that now to the comments. I'm like, a good comment doesn't actually make me happy if a bad comment makes me sad.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, there's no point.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that's how I look at it as well. Yeah, it just can't be fucked.
Yeah.
I've never commented on something.
I'm the same. I mean, I'd try and be positive. Like, I'll positively comment on people's shit.
I don't even do that. I barely even like shit. So when I get people comment, my Facebook's the best one, is I think, because people are quite savage on Facebook, because Facebook's a very like scrolly, like people like think that they're getting involved. And I look at people and I'm like, how what would make you want to comment? I've never like looked at something and felt the urge to comment like meanly on something. So it's like, I think that's why I laugh so hard, because it's like, if I've never felt like that, imagine how these people are feeling when they're writing it.
Yeah.
They're probably like leaving the comment and then walking away from their phone going fucking and getting all mad still. So it's like, I think that's another reason why I can like relate. I've never commented, other than like my friends, like I'll be like, oh yeah, you're a hot bitch or something like that. But like, I've never felt the urge to like comment on something, let alone comment something mean. So I think for me, that's why I feel like I just have control, because it's like I've never had the urge to do it. And even if like I might look at someone and go, you fucking loser, and just keep scrolling. You know, like I don't actually feel like commenting that. Like nothing urges me, or nothing strong enough inside my being makes me want to comment.
Yeah, there's no good feeling that you're gonna get from commenting.
I'd rather not waste my time, to be honest. I just keep scrolling. When
you like, I mean, this is just fucking a guess. I'm not. You're not putting out the vibe, but it's like when you're racing cars and there was this constant thing about being a woman, and like you kind of, I'm sure you would have felt at the mercy of certain people and decisions, and you probably didn't feel as in control of yourself and your future as what I'm sure you do now. Like, do you enjoy or was it ever just the goal to just be like a bad bitch? Because like there's bad bitches in the world that like, they don't need fucking men. They don't need any of that shit. It's like they can make their own fucking money, and then they can tell everybody to fuck off, essentially. And even the way that it's like you're cutting in your boyfriend on shit. It's like, you can have it's like, that must be a pretty fucking cool place to be as a woman. And anyone that wants to be like fucking women's rights and feminism, and it's like, fuck all that shit. Like if you're a woman and you got fuck you money and you can say fuck you to men.
Yeah, I think I've always had that. Like when I raced and stuff, like I think I'll probably blame my dad. My dad used to like bring me up when I was go-karting and stuff, and he used to say like, if anyone like gives you a hard time for being a girl, like tell them to fuck off. And I was like a 10-year-old girl, right? So he's like telling me to tell people to get fucked. And so like I would get that from like a very young age. Like I would have some like dad come up to me and be like, oh, like you're gonna be a fucking mobile chicane, are you? And I was like, how about you fuck off? And he's just like, what? And I was just like, yeah, how about you fuck off? And he'd be like, you can't say that. He's like, I'm a father, I'm an elder. And I'm like, yeah, well you can fuck off. And I would just tell people to fuck off all the time. It was like my default whenever I felt like threatened or whatever. But then when I actually got a bit maturer, like 13 or 14, I like realized what was going on. So like before, like when I was younger, I would just literally tell people, my dad told me to say fuck off, so I would just tell you to fuck off. But then like once I started like figuring out like the gap and like what was going on, like I just stuck with me. So like even when I was like racing and go-karting and stuff, like other than my manager, I would like my manager. I would do it. I would do anything he said. Like he was the one that I like believed or whatever. But like if anyone else told me like what I should be doing or shouldn't be doing, I would literally just say like, nah, fuck off. Like you can't say that or you can't do that. I would have people like I would have dads and kids and stuff all the time like pick on me and bully me and stuff, and I would just be like tell them. I'd just be like fuck off, or like you get over it, or like I'll go fucking beat you on the track, or I'll fucking take you out. Like I'll tell me what it's like. I would literally. I remember I forget like. When I was go-karting, I forget all the shit that I used to do, but I used to come in and like tell like kids and dads and stuff like, what's it like to be beaten by a girl, like in faggot, like, and just like yell at them and just tell them like, yeah, that's right, you fucking pussy. Like, you know, I just like give it to them because I'm just like, they would give it to me, or I knew I could see that they were talking about me over there before the race, and you know, then I come back in and the dad's there like shaking his head at his son. I'm like, yeah, your son's fucking slow, just got beaten by a girl. Like I would just give it to them, and my dad would always be like, yeah, and he would like be supporting me.
Did your dad have a son, or like you just got you and your sister?
I think I was like the son. I was the son he never had.
You were the son.
Yeah,
sure.
Definitely. So yeah, and he would always tell me, like he would even tell me, so sometimes like when I got older, sometimes like I would get in real heated like arguments like with like other dads and kids, and my dad's like, right, he's like, I'm going to teach you how to punch someone. And he like, if anyone fucking gives you a hard time or comes too close, he's like you grab them by the race suit with one hand and you punch them with the other. And he would full tell me to like knock boys out and knock kids out if they like fucked with me basically. So I think people being in control of me and telling me what to do and stuff's never really been something, but as in being control. So what, like I'm a lot more in control of my like career and stuff now because I don't really rely on anyone. But when I was relying on people, it was hard because it's like I had a goal and it's like I didn't have money or anything, so it's like you sort of did the only thing. You're at the mercy of other people. And the only thing that really I think I had to change, a lot of people and a lot of my sponsors loved who I was, like when they really got to know me. Like there wasn't any sponsor, like once I had sponsors, a lot of people probably don't realize this, but once I had sponsors I didn't really lose them. Like I had them for a long time. Like I had Fujitsu, I had like all of those people for a few years because like once I was on, like I would look after them and like the people who they would bring to the races and stuff because I was pretty easy to get along with. And so that's probably one thing that I think like a lot of people never really pay attention to or don't get much credit for is like I wouldn't have new sponsors every week. Like I had a set few and would really look after them. And once people knew who I was, like it was all good. So I didn't really have to like set any like I didn't have to set that vibe of like if you don't fucking like it, you know, like you know, I didn't have to be like all staunch and like, you know, like they loved me sort of thing. The biggest thing was like the older that I got and the more like image came into it, like once I started to become like a young female, it was sort of like when I was young, like 13, 14, 15, it was sort of like I could do what I want. I could be a young kid, like, you know, like I was.
The sex hadn't entered it yet.
It hadn't. It wasn't really a thing. But then the second I turned like 17, 18, like went into Porsche and like things started to change. It was sort of like, oh, well, you need to have long hair and, you know, you need to, you know, do this and you need to look like this and you need to cross your legs when you sit at the table. And so I think like one that got into the I guess the picture of racing because that was the side of it that was involved at the same time. Like, you know, when I hopped out of the car, it's like I had to look good and I couldn't wear, like if I had to go somewhere nice, like I couldn't wear shorts like the boys were wearing. I had to wear a skirt or a dress. And I think that's when I started to just like feel like at the mercy, I guess, and I just had to do what people thought or people expected of a female because it was like it's what you have to do sort of thing. So that's probably like the only time where I felt like controlled. But other than that, like I'm being pretty lucky, and I think just my personality and stuff, I never really felt like anyone had like control, or I never really would like not do what I was told unless it was like by someone super important. Other than that, like when I was young, I would just listen to my dad. I'd do whatever my dad told me to do. Then it was my manager, and then my manager communicated with my sponsors. So it was like if he said, you know, they said you have to do this, I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And I just used to do it. So, but once I got older, it wore off, and that's why I got over racing in the end, because it's like, you know, I'm 20, 21 and people telling me you can't post that picture on Instagram, you can't do this, you can't do that. I'm like, well, that's me, like that's who I am, and if you don't like it, then too bad, sort of thing. And that's why it all fell apart in the end, because I didn't like doing what I was told.
No, it makes sense. I don't fucking like doing what I'm told either.
I know, now I can do what I want.
Yeah, it's pretty much why I started this.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm definitely not a person that is I wouldn't say I'm like I don't buy into a lot of like the feminism shit. I don't buy into the equal everything, equal this, equal that. Men can do it. Women can do everything. Women can't do everything men can do.
Yeah, no.
And men can't do everything that women can do. And I feel like we're living in this fucking weird time where like just kind of this equality and equanimity is just being pushed on everybody.
Yeah.
And I just wish people could settle the fuck down. And like, the problem is that being a guy, right? So like, you hear a guy would, you talk about racing the way that like, oh, I couldn't do this because I was a girl, I couldn't. And then the first instinct of guys like, oh, fuck off. Like that, and that's what most guys do. That's wrong. Guys shouldn't do that. There would have been stuff that you would have had to have done because you're a girl. Plain and simple. It shouldn't be that fucking hard to accept that. But then I think on like the female end of it, the like women need to come to the party more in the way that like, and I feel the same with the race thing, is that like a lot of these problems, like we're just a fucking capitalist system. It's money.
Yeah.
Money.
Yep.
And
That's
it's
why
like,
I was doing it.
100%. And it's like the sponsors would have been buying into your shit because you're a woman.
Yep.
And it's like, there's just certain things that are like unavoidable. And I think that people interject prejudice where there's no reason to inject prejudice.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that there's some guy at Fujitsu that's like, oh, you know, we should sponsor this woman so we can control how she looks.
Yeah.
It's just money.
Yeah.
And then with that, for them to get their money, there just has to be a certain thing.
Yeah.
There's no like nastiness in this shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I was always against like, so when I got control over questions, so like when people could ask me questions, that like I would read like pre-questionnaires or whatever before I went on like TV or whatever.
Just like this podcast.
Yeah. So people would be like, okay, what's it like being a girl, or like racing? And I'm like, don't want that in there. And I could actually have control over it. And I would always try and like get that side of it out of it. So I went on like, have you been paying attention and stuff like that? And like, they didn't ask me like any girl questions, because it's like, don't fucking ask me, because like I'm going to have the same answer like all the time. And I would have girls ask me, like, what's it like being a female racing? I'm like, what's it like being a female in your field? And they'd be like, oh. And I'd be like, well. And they're like, oh, well, there's lots of females in my field. I'm like, well, there's lots of females here too. I was like, you're a female. I'm talking to you. I was like, there's a female over there. I was like, I've got 3 females on my team. I've got 1 mechanic, 1 mum, like 1 manager. Like, you know, there's heaps of females here. And they're like, oh. And I'm like, don't ask me that question. Ask me another fucking question. And they're like, oh, because they're like expecting me to say like, it is so hard to be here.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they were fishing for. And I was just like, I'm not going to give you that fucking answer, because if it was hard for a female and if it was unfair, I was like, I obviously wouldn't be here. I was like, it's obviously not that bad.
Fucking right.
So it's like, I'm here, I'm doing it. Like, it's just because no one's done it before doesn't mean it's not possible. Like, if it was really shit, like, I wouldn't be here. Like, there's been times where like, absolutely, I probably got treated less than what guys did. And like I said before, like, they have made it a lot harder for me. And comes that with attention and all that sort of stuff that more guys got. Like, I remember when we did Bathurst for the first time, like, we did a signing session and our signing fucking line was bigger than anybody else's, and it's just because everyone wanted to come get a photo and a signature from the girls. So it's like, it's much of a muchness. Like, for me, I don't really care, but I think it's like, I'd never liked the people fishing for like the pity answer. I never, that's like, and you could tell. I was
gonna pull you up on it before and be like, well, she probably just, and then, you know, like, she probably just wants to hear this and you're a role model. But then if you're constantly just being exposed to like people wanting to hear, it's so fucking hard. Yeah. It's so hard being a woman, and then the other woman's like, right, isn't it? Yeah. It's like, fuck, can we just get past this shit? No, yeah. It's literally like, and you could tell like, if the interviewer, like, the questions they were asking and like fair. The way it was going, and I'm just like, no questions about being a chick, like, I'm over it, I've answered the questions before, like, it's fine. And then my thing was always like, if it was too hard for girls, why would they let us do it? Like, if it was too hard, if it wasn't fair, like, why would we be here? Like, it's simple as that. Like, just fucking move on. The thing too, like, you know, you want to talk about why you ended up racing, it's because your dad didn't have a fucking son. Yeah. Yeah. That would be my guess. Yeah, we just did it for fun, and it just eventuated. And my dad I was lucky that my dad wasn't one that turned around and gone, oh, she's a girl, she can't do it. Yeah, because if that was the case, I know dads that have daughters
Yeah.
and not guys, and they're just like, because we come from motocross.
Yeah.
You're like, that's cool. They're
Yeah.
gonna race motocross.
Yeah.
So it's like you almost don't have a choice half the time.
Yeah.
But it's like you might not have raced if your dad had a son.
Right.
And it's just like not pushing you towards it.
Yeah, so and I think that turns back to, at the end of the day, like my attitude on everything as well. Like my dad not caring. Like if my dad, like there were times when my dad like knew that when I was like out on the track or something, that all the boys were like, he could see them like whispering and talking, and he's like, oh fuck, and then 2 minutes later I get taken out, sort of thing. So my dad's like, oh, like there was times that he knew that like I was probably like gonna get picked on or whatever because I was a girl, and he would have known for sure that when I started go-karting and started taking it more seriously, that like I was gonna get attention or whatever. I was naive. Like I didn't really twig to it until like fucking 17, or like when I was in Porsche. Like I didn't really like, I was like, oh fuck, like
This is different.
this isn't normal. Like I didn't really get it like up until then, like so there were heaps of times where he knew that and he just didn't care and didn't tell me, or
Yeah.
he did care but he just knew it was better not telling me or something. Like I'm sure if he would have sat me down, my mum like tried to tell me like, you shouldn't do this, like it's not for girls, like you should finish school and all that sort of stuff, and I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, fuck school.
so there was times where he for sure would have known like what I was going to get in for, but he just didn't like tell me. He just knew that it would work out or whatever. Like I don't know what he was thinking. I've never really spoken to him about it, but I have no doubt that like if
your parents only ever want the best for you.
if I would have grown up in a household like
you
that,
are fucking killing it right now. You are fucking killing it. Like it worked.
yeah, right. I thought this the other day. I'm like, if I don't know who, I was speaking to someone and like I don't know why I started thinking about it, but they were just like, you never do what you're told anyway, sort of thing. And I'm just like, yeah, if I had done what I had like was meant to do or what had been told to do ages ago, like I'd be fucking working at Woolworths doing a 9 till 5, like, wondering what I'm going to do with my life, sort of thing. Like probably not have a direction, be upset that I never pursued a career or done what I actually wanted to do or loved doing. So I think about it like not all the time, but I've thought about it. I'm like, if I literally did anything the way I should have done, like fuck knows where I would have like ended up. Like, yeah, no, I wouldn't be here, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I think too that people lose perspective when it comes to something like racing and women, and then it's like you said, the guys would do this. It's like, that's just a shit person. Like, you can get chicks that are shit people. Yeah. You can get dudes that are shit people. Yep. But it's because there's this extra thing that we're adding into it that like, oh, woman, race car driver, man, race car driver. It must be because man, like, that's just a fucking insecure dude. Yeah. Or a shit dude.
A lot of people think like, it was the funniest thing is that when people thought I was racing, they thought that I didn't like have the balls or like didn't have like that like aggression or whatever. And I have had some people tell me that I have more aggression than half the dudes. And they have like, when I raced Porsche, they used to have this thing when I hopped out of the car, no one could speak to me for 15 minutes because I'd just be so fucking like gonna rip someone's head off, and they're like, you're more aggressive than half the dudes on the field. And it's just like, well, it's just the person, it's who you are. And a lot of people would say like, oh, you don't have the testosterone like a male or whatever. I'm like, I bet you I could bash half these dudes if I wanted to. So I was like a young kid at the time, and I'm like, I could probably bash half these guys out here. It's all about who you are, your adrenaline and all that sort of stuff. So it's like, it's the person, it's the circumstances, the situation. Not every girl can race a car. Like, I definitely think that it's like certain people can do it. Not every dude can race a car. Every dude probably wishes he could fucking race a car, but every guy thinks he's probably good at it, but they're not. Like, not every dude can race a car. Not every guy's strong enough to race a car. You look at my body and my build, I'm bigger than a lot of other guys out there who are my age. Like, it's the same. Like, a lot of people would be like, oh, what's it like being at a disadvantage, not being strong enough? I'm like, well, I'm not the strongest. Yeah, I'm not the strongest, but like I'm stronger than a lot of dudes out there. So it's like, I'm fine. Like, I'll just go to the gym and I'll figure it out. Like, everything's going to be okay. And then the other thing that a lot of people would say is like, what's it like being the only girl? Is it hard being the only girl? Like what I said what I would always default say to the interviewers, but then just to anybody, it's like, I was never the only girl. Like, I might be the only girl on track, but there would actually be, in a team, there would be just as many females, especially in the bigger teams, like working behind 100%. The scenes and all that sort of stuff. Like, I would probably spend most of my day with just as many females as I would men. It just happened to be when I was on the track, I was the only one. And then other than that, like,
and that's just
there's
like,
chicks everywhere.
That's just where people gravitate towards. Like, I'm real good friends with Tim and Trudy Edwards.
Yep.
And it's like, Tim's fucking doing his thing.
Yep.
Trudy's doing her thing.
Yep.
And they just gravitate towards those things.
Yep.
And it's like a man can be doing fucking hospitality and like a sick barista and a sick chef, and like
Yep.
he could be upstairs, and then downstairs there could be a fucking chick that is a full computer nerd that's doing some ignition shit.
Yep.
It's
That's
just
all
like
it takes, yeah.
and it's just like this natural thing that you gravitate towards.
Yep. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, a lot of people are so narrow-minded, I think, too. Like, they just, when it comes to like seeing what they see sort of thing, I think a lot of people, like when I was racing, a lot of people would ask questions, and sometimes I think, have you even fucking thought about that question? Like, have you even really thought about like the answer that I'm going to give to that?
Well, the answer to that is no.
Yeah,
A lot of people don't.
They
think,
don't
just in
think. They
general,
just
yeah.
ask, and it's like, that is the stupidest fucking question I've ever heard. Like, I'm pretty sure I said that to someone once. Like, someone was interviewing me, like, that's just a dumb fucking question. I'm not answering it next, because it's like they would ask things thinking that they knew the answer to it, and just like stereotyping and like just all the rest of it, and just not thinking, you know, currently, and not actually realizing the answer. And they would just ask the question, and it's just like, really, like, think about what you ask, because I think some people ask questions or think things and they don't really pay much attention to like what's going on, or they don't think, oh, maybe that's not the case, or maybe they don't second guess, they just ask and look like an idiot.
Yeah, and the thing is like, not everyone's good at their job.
Yeah, that too.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
That was one of the things that I learned really early on when I was like an adult running my own business, doing my own shit, is just like, just because somebody's got a fucking high paying job or is like there with a microphone, hey, look at me, I got a fucking microphone, I got no qualifications at all.
Yep.
That there's nothing that says I'm fucking good at this job and I can do it.
Yeah.
That's the
like
same
me.
with everybody.
That's what I'm like now. So I'm
You're a fucking porn star. Who the fuck gave you that? Like, you know what I mean?
I'm dumb as fuck. Like, I'll admit it. I'm not good at maths. I can't even really tell the time unless it's digital, to be honest. Like, I'm literally like, don't ask me to spell anything, because I'm just fucking stupid. And that's why I was good at racing, because racing was like,
Just
it
go
is what it
fast.
is, right? And then when we had the data, my dad always used to say, he's like, how do you fucking even like know what they're talking about? Because it's numbers, and I'm really dumb with numbers. But it's like, I'm not adding them together. Like, I'm just having to remember numbers, which I can remember. So it's like, my dad used to say I was the smartest dumb person he's ever met, because it's like, I'm so dumb in some things but so smart in other
It's
things.
like Toby Price.
Yeah. So I feel like it's common. I feel like a lot of people, especially racers, because you don't actually really need to be like smart to race.
I was going to say, it's knowing what you need to know.
Yeah, and
That's what
it's-
makes you smart.
And memory, I think memory, like if you have a good memory and you can help, and if you know your weaknesses as well, I think that helps too. Like, I knew my weaknesses. So my weaknesses were like not very, like, when I was talking to the engineers and stuff, I was just had to like not dumb it down, but sort of just like speak in a language that I understood. Like, if they were fast, spoke too fast, and like we're talking about numbers and just shit, if it was written down and we could go through it, I could do it. But if they were like speaking to me too fast, I'm like, I don't know what you're saying, you're speaking another language. So it's like understanding that. But then, like, I was joking about it the other day when I had the BBL with my sister. I was like fucking on drugs and on oxys or something, and I was like sort of half there, and I said something really stupid, and my sister's like, fuck, you are so dumb. And I'm just like, oh, and I'm like, we had a little argument. I'm like, shut the fuck up, I'm the richest one here. And it's just like, she's so smart, but it's like, you don't have to be smart sometimes to like know what you're doing. And I think it was her and my boyfriend, like everyone was like having a go at me because I was like being a dickhead. I'm like, how about you all shut the fuck up, because I'm the richest one here, so you can all shut up and sit down. And I was like, stop picking on me because I'm dumb. And it's like, you don't need to like know 1 + 1 to have $1 million in the bank. And I know so many people who are like in a job, and I'm like, how the fuck do you have that job?
That's the thing. And like, it's, if you've got that perspective, they're like, oh, you don't have to be good to have this job.
No.
It's like real hard for someone then to ask you a stupid question.
Yeah.
Because like, you're probably just not that good at your job. Like, it's good. It's fine. You might get better.
Yeah. When I was like in car sales, I thought I was going to be shit at it, because I was like, oh, like you got to be smart and like got to look like the part and like all that sort of stuff. And same thing, like I quickly realized that like if you can talk shit with someone and you can sell them the car, like talking shit and having the relationship, you don't actually need to, because I'm like I'm really bad with numbers, right? Like I don't know times tables or plus or anything. Like, I'm the worst person at maths. But like, I thought I'd be shit at it, because I'm like, oh, like if this person wants like a $15,000 discount, like can I minus $15,000 off the price? Like, that's how nervous I would get. And then
Probably take you a week to get that shit dialed if you really tried.
Yeah, but I know I can't be fucked. I just get the calculator. But like, I was really nervous because I'm like, fuck, like I'm really like not good with numbers, and cars is all about numbers. And when I got the training, they were like, oh, like if someone offers you this and then the trade-in value, and they were telling me all this stuff, and I'm like, I'm going to be no good at this. Like,
I'm
there's
done.
too many numbers, too much minusing. Like, I'm fucked. And then, like, when I realized that, like, I could sell a car before actually doing the number things, like, I found what made, like, it work for me. And then I would literally just sit on a table with someone and be like, right, let's work this out, and, like, get my calculator out, and I'd just do it.
And then you just look the part anyway.
And then it looks legit, right? So I'd, like, figure out a way to work around my weaknesses. I'm like, right, don't talk numbers until we've done the deal. And then once that's done, we'll figure it out from there, and I can just whip out a calculator on my phone and it looks legit. So it's like you just figure it out, because like I know my weaknesses, and I'm probably lucky that I know my weaknesses like straight off the bat.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's just like, yeah, anything with numbers and stuff like that, it's like I just try and avoid it as much as I can. But then I also know that I'm like, yeah, I'm dumb as fuck. Like, it's okay.
There's just this, it's so like, that's such a fucking weird term to put on yourself though, to be like, I'm dumb. It's like you and people think this with just Instagram, like porn, whatever. Like
Yeah.
people that have these followings, like Tammy Hembrow is the perfect example, right?
Yeah.
I fucking love that chick.
Yeah.
What a fucking gangster.
Yeah.
11 million followers on Instagram.
Yep.
And just fucking crushes
Killing it. Yeah.
You absolutely fucking murdering it. You cannot be dumb to be that person. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like, you might not be good at fucking math, but you've got some savage shit going on that other people fucking don't. Tammy Hembrow has some savage fucking shit going on. She's hot.
Yeah.
But I don't think Tammy Hembrow's the fucking hottest girl in the world.
No.
Like, she's super short, for
Yeah.
one.
I've never seen her in real life.
She's fucking tiny.
Really?
And you like, just kills it.
Yeah.
She's smart as fuck. And
Yeah.
like, anyone that would look at her, like, the classic is guys being like, oh, you should hear her talk.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you want her to say?
Yeah.
Like, what are you trying to hear? Like, do you want her to break down the theory of relativity? She's just a fucking chick.
Yeah.
Living her life, doing her thing. And she's fucking doing a good job at it. And
Yeah.
it's just sort of the same thing with you.
Yeah. I sort of fit myself in. My dad says it good. He says that I'm the smartest dumb person he knows. I'm like, I feel like I'm street smart. Like, I feel like I've had a lot of like experience, especially with racing, like sponsorship and like that sort of stuff like that you pick up, like just from talking to people and like just sitting down at tables with like people from Jiu-Jitsu and stuff like that, and speaking and hearing how they speak about business and all that sort of stuff. So stuff I've picked up, which I think makes me smart in some ways, and I probably learnt more than what other people would because they haven't had that experience. But then in other ways, like, yeah, I say some dumb shit and I can be pretty stupid, but I also think like I'm smarter than the average, and that's something that I like is because I am smart in like a different way. Like, I sort of off the cuff and can think of things, and like one thing I am good at is like problem solving, and like that's one thing that I'm good at. So it's like if I put things into like a problem solving perspective, I can be pretty like creative.
Give me an example of a problem you've had to solve lately,
I don't
recently.
even know. Okay, so like I'm trying to do like I tried to do like posters and stuff like that recently. So it's like, okay, so I want to do posters, but like I need to save money on like spend, like I don't want to actually order the posters, even though I ordered them. It's like, how the fuck can I this was literally like the other week I came up, well, it's probably 2 weeks ago now since I've had the idea, but I was like, how can I sell something to someone without having to physically purchase something and then re-ship it and resend it and lose money before I make money? And so I was like, how the fuck can I do that? And I'm like, well, digitally, like on my phone. I'm like, if I can send something to someone's phone, we'll just do it on the phone. If I can send them an email, or if I can email them the poster, I'll just do it like that. And then I'm like, well, like I'm going to have issues with that, because if I email it, then it's going to get like leaked, and then maybe that person will then continue to sell it, sort of thing. So I'm like, well, how do I stop that from happening? So it's like, then I was sort of like, well, you know, that fucking happens, it fucking happens, so what? And then I was like, well, I'll just start to do my phone wallpapers and sell phone wallpapers instead of like posters. And then I thought of doing a calendar soon. I thought about doing the same thing for a calendar. So that's sort of how I think. I don't know if that's like creative or just standard, but it's sort of like overcoming the problem of like, I'm like, fuck, I don't want to order like all these posters and then like if they don't
Gotta
sell, I'm
ship
stuck.
it,
Yeah,
and-
right. I'll do that anyway, but I'll only get 100 because they'll sell like in a couple months and it'll be fine. And I'm like, well, how the fuck else am I going to sell anything? So then I was like, what can I use? Like, what can I do? And then I'm like, well, it'd be good to get something on your phone. And that's when I thought, well, what about a phone wallpaper? So that's sort of like how I think.
yeah. But I mean, I think that's like the ultimate way to learn. Like I talk about my brother, like he fucking failed basically everything in school and now is like the manager of a fuck ton of really, really big athletes.
Yeah, that's cool.
And he just works with all these crazy brands. He just does so much shit. And it's all like he reverse engineered every single problem.
Yeah.
And I think that it's like, there's two types of people in the world. There's people that won't do a thing until they know exactly how it's going to go and it's going to be like this, and if there's any barriers along that point that seem like not even that they could, I guess just like, oh, this could catch me out.
Yeah.
Okay, bad idea, not going to do it.
And they're out, yeah.
Whereas I think that there's people like yourself, people like myself, people like my brother. Like, I've know every single thing about like cameras and editing and all that shit. Never went to school.
Yeah.
But I knew the kind of videos that I wanted to make and I needed to make to get work.
Yeah.
So I just worked backwards from that problem.
Yeah.
So I think there's people that want to work forwards from problems and people that want to work backwards from problems. You need a mix of both, I think. But I think that if you're a person that can just go, this is what I will do, how do I work backwards from that to make it happen? They're the people that really do well in the end.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm like. I look at it as like a problem and work backwards. How am I going to find that solution? The problem is that I can't be fucked to like pay money for posters. You know, how can I send something and make money off it that hasn't cost me money? And all stuff like that. Like literally, that's how I come. I think that's why I try to be creative and like that's how I sort of try and get by and just do it, which I think is what makes me not smart. I don't know if that's smart or not, but like creative or just like, I don't know. I think I'm just good at solving problems, and knowing my weaknesses definitely helps me like move forward and get to where I need to get to.
What was it like the day that, or what was the day where you were like, fuck, I'm rich?
To be honest, I don't actually think I'm rich.
You're rich.
No, I don't think I am, because
You're white, you Ben Affleck.
What I said, I don't know who I was saying this the other day. I was like, the only thing I've realized after all of this and making all of this money is that the lifestyle that I want to live and have envisioned myself living, I need to make more money. I'm like, if I want this, and I want, like, you know how you grow up and you sort of have dreams of all this shit. I'm like, the only thing this has made me realize is that the dreams and visions that I have are fucking expensive, and I actually need to make more money. So I don't know. I don't think I'm rich. Like, probably if you asked me a couple of years ago, and if you said that, you know, I had all this money in my bank account, I'd probably be like, fucking what? Like, no way. But ever since I've got it, to be honest, it's sort of just like, I don't know, like it's made me appreciate like money, and it's made me realize that how much money I used to fucking waste, and it's made me like, I've got
What made you appreciate how much money you used to waste?
I think,
how did getting more money make you feel like
that's it, right? So it's like, I literally have, like, you know, I've got all this money, and I think realizing what I can now buy has made me realize, like, well, I don't need that. And then I'm like, well, I didn't need that either. Like, so like, for example, like, I've got all this money and I don't own a Louis Vuitton handbag. I don't own nice fucking shoes.
I was actually like, when you rocked up with
how
the
I rock
Adidas
up.
trackie, I was like, okay.
Yeah,
okay,
like,
okay.
I'm wearing a $10 cotton on t-shirt. Like, my pants probably cost me, like, I'm wearing Givenchy slides, but like, it's the only pair of slides that I have. It costs $400. This jackets cost like $80. Like standard shit. Like, I think I own one pair of high heels. I like,
for the fetish videos.
Yeah.
That's a prop. That's a prop.
I've got stripper heels for that, but like actual like proper heels, like I own one pair and it costs like $20. Like, I think like realizing now what I can buy, like with the money that I have, and realizing that like I don't want it or don't need it, has made me realize all the other shit that I have. Like, I look at my wardrobe and I'm like, I could literally like go to Versace or go somewhere and just like drop fucking 10 grand like it's nothing, but I like, what's the fucking point? And then I look at my wardrobe and I'm like, all these clothes I don't even wear, like it's such a waste. So like, it's weird. Like, I sort of like looked at it and I've just gone, well, I don't need all of this shit that I have, and it just means that I can afford more and I don't even need what I've got now. So it's weird how it sort of works, and how like it's all the money's made me sort of appreciate money more, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So like, what would you do? Like, say if you had to go back and like you had the wisdom that you've got now from making all this cash, but you didn't have the cash, what would you do differently in your like day-to-day lifestyle?
I think when I didn't have a lot of money, I always thought like I thought, you know, up until a couple of years ago when I was racing, like I was broke as fuck, and I always thought like having like 10-20 grand was like a lot of money. Yeah. Like, I thought that was big money. I'm like, if I could have like 10-20 grand in my bank account, like I'm fucking balling. Yeah. Like, that's what I used to think, right? And then this was like up until like recently, like I was probably like 19-20 when I was thinking this, because when I was racing, like,
how old are you now, by the way?
I think I'm 25, 26, I can't remember.
Fuck me dead.
I'm 1995. I don't know how old that is, 25 I think. I don't really celebrate birthdays, it's just another year. But if I could go back, I think just thinking that I had to like look like I had money. Like looking like I had money was like a big thing for me. Like I always wanted like the newest Nikes, and like even though I was broke as fuck, like up until like when I was 18 or 19 I didn't even pay tax, so I earned under like 18 grand a year up until like just recently. So like that's how fucking broke I was, like no money. And but like I would spend, like I would work like contract work, so I would get like $2,000 for working like a week at Mercedes, and I would spend 1,000 of it. Thinking that I'm like a baller, and I would go out and buy like, you know, nice pair of Nikes, like good pair of jeans, like thinking that I was like, you know, looking the part and had $1,000 left over to pay all my bills and food, and just hope that I got paid like the next week and lived from paycheck to paycheck. So I think that's what, like I look back on it, I'm like, I didn't need the $100 pair of shoes that I now don't have and don't know where they are because I don't fucking wore them twice, sort of thing, you know. So it's like for me it's like looking like you're rich and being rich are two different things. I know that sounds corny and people have probably heard that before, but it is so true. Like that's probably like that's what's made me realize, like you spend money on shit. Like I've got all these pairs of shoes I don't wear, all these clothes that I don't wear. Like I've got a laptop and a computer, probably don't need the laptop, that was a waste of money, you know, like just little things like that for me. Just I would look back on it and just go, wish I could tell myself that I don't need it, or that like you don't have to think that you need it to like justify yourself, sort of thing. I don't know, but my biggest thing when I had no money is I wanted to look like I had more money, because I had $50 in my bank account and I was wearing $50 pair of jeans. So it's like I shouldn't have bought the $50 pair of jeans. I'd rather just have the $100 in my bank account. So it's like, yeah, those things you don't learn. And I mean, to be honest, I thought when I had this money, I thought I'd spend it. Like I thought I'd blow it. But the second I had it, I was just like, I just wanted it to keep growing and growing and growing. And then I think the biggest purchase that I've had up until like I've had the money would be my butt, and then like my new car. So they're like the biggest two purchases that I've had. All the other money I've just banked and just put into investment properties and stuff like that. Like I literally, like looking at me, I like don't spend money.
Yeah. So what made you want to get the Brazilian butt lift too? Was that like another thing with the OnlyFans where you're like, this will just make more money?
Sort of. So it's like I sort of look at how people look. Like when I got my tits, for example, everyone loves fake tits. So it's like everyone, you know, that's a good investment. And then I wanted a Brazilian butt lift like 2 years ago, so I've wanted one for a while, because when I was super fit, like I went through a stage where I was like super fit, like smashing peptides, like, you know, was like 13% body fat, like was
what?
Yeah, I was like lean, like super, like just trying so hard to be like super strong, super fit, like probably the lightest.
How were the peptides?
Yeah, they were right. They fucked me when I got off them though, but like...
How so?
Just like put on heaps of weight, like was depressed, just a bit mentally like cooked from taking them. But like thought I would be super happy. Like look back at my photos and I was like, you know, my body was pretty good, but I wasn't happy. Like I was looking or chasing this thing that I was like never really happy for, like what we spoke about before. And then even when I was like sort of thought I was happy and thought I looked good, I sort of didn't really, like I always picked on something and I'm like, well, my ass is this.
Yeah,
or
it
like,
was never enough.
Yeah, and then I would like look at my like butt and I would like train my butt and my butt would get big. I've always had like a relatively big butt, but like my quads and my calves would get fucking massive. So I'm like, fuck, how do I like...
so you couldn't have like the nice ass without the big legs.
Everything grew. And same with my back. Like I wanted to get a really nice back. So like when I had a nice back, like my traps and like everything were just massive, and I just looked like, I think I'm someone who builds muscle quite easily, but like I had personal trainers and everything try to figure out how to like isolate or whatever, and like I had a pretty good butt, but like for example my quads or my hamstrings were right, but like my calves were like massive or something was always compensated. And so I'm like, well, I was never really like happy with like how I sort of looked. And then when I was fit, like I still had the hip dips and everything, so the Brazilian butt lift was mainly for me like the only reason I went with it is because they take they suck all the fat out and then they re-put it back in. To just get lipo, it was actually more expensive, and to get the fat put back in, they didn't have to put it all back in. So it's like, well, I didn't want it all put in my ass. I actually wanted to put in my hips and stuff a little bit. So for me, it was just like not just put in my ass to have a big ass. It was like to fill my hip dips and to fill a little bit of the areas that I didn't like, that I can't physically do with like going to the gym, because you can't there's no muscles around like your hips where my hip dips are and stuff like that. So for me, it was like, and the top of my butt is where I've got more of my fat put than the bottom, because my bottom is actually quite big. If you actually look at my butt, the size of it, actually how wide it is has changed, but how wide my hips are from hip to hips has changed, but then the back of my butt from like the front to the back actually hasn't gotten that big. So it's sort of just to like fill the gaps and to make it look a bit more like smooth and like womanly, I guess you could say, rather than like feeling a bit straight up and down and having like dips and stuff.
Isn't it like a real fucking gnarly surgery though, in terms of like people die doing it and shit?
Yeah, apparently it's meant to be one of like the most hectic fucking surgeries you can get. So I don't really know what countries or whatever that's happening from, because for me it felt like it was all right. I was prepared for it to be fucked. Like everyone was telling me that it was going to be really bad, but
man, I watched your videos last night, your 2 vlogs, and I was like, fuck this. Like, I ain't signing up for this.
Yeah, there was so much stuff I didn't know was going to happen. Like I got a mad rash.
Leaking?
The leaking was fucked.
Jesus, fuck.
Everyone told me, you have no idea, like in person.
It was fuck. It grossed me out.
Oh my God.
Honest.
The smell of it was literally like
ugh.
dead flesh. Like it's disgusting. And it's like for 4 or 5 days until you get the drains out. And even after you get the drains out, I leaked a little bit. I don't know how my sister and my boyfriend did it. They would come in and change me and I'd be like dry reaching while they're doing it. And they're like touching it and I'm like, yuck.
Fuck.
And there's like bits of fat that get leaked out too. So there's like bits of fat on the floor and like it's pretty fucked up. But
it is like mega fucked up.
Yeah. So, but I look back on it, I'm like, other than the first like 3 or 4 days, the rest of it's like my face got really swollen and I had a really bad rash. Other than that, it probably wasn't that bad. Like,
yeah, but you couldn't sit down for 6 weeks.
Yeah, that was fucked. Yeah, that was really annoying. I thought, oh, I'll just make 3 and then I'll sit down. But they're like, do not sit down. They're like, your results will be shit if you sit down. And I was like, fuck.
And then you're already like, fuck it, I'm in this deep.
I was like, well, I've been 3 weeks. I might as well make another 3. So when I got to week 4, I was like, I just want to get out of the house. I want to go to dinner. Like, I want to sit down. Like, I was just so over it. And then week 5, I was like, fuck it. So I would like sit on this pillow where my legs were up, but my bum was down. So I did that for a week. And then I got to week 6 and then I was like too scared to sit on my bum anyway.
Yeah.
So it took me like a couple of days before I actually sat on my bum after 6 weeks. But yeah, I'm glad that I did it. And everyone told me. So a lot of the nurses who I went with, they all had it done. And they're like, do not sit. They're like, any like sitting on it like before 6 weeks, they're like, it's going to be fucked. And they're like, even if you can wait longer, like 7 weeks, you can do it. But I couldn't wait till 7 weeks. I'm like 6 weeks and 3 days and I sat down.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck this. And I'm a back sleeper too, so sleeping was shit.
Yeah.
Like so shit. And then I was literally like the 6th or the 3rd day or something after 6 weeks. I remember like hopping into bed and laying down on my stomach. I'm like, wait, what am I doing? I like rolled over and like passed out. Like woke up in the same spot I fell asleep, and I was like, oh, so good to sleep like a normal person.
Yeah, fuck, I can't even imagine that. I broke my hip and a couple vertebrae, or like fractured my hip and a couple vertebrae 8 weeks ago,
wow.
or 9 weeks ago. And fuck, man, it's torture, eh? Like,
yeah,
I mean,
that.
I could lay down and shit, but like, man, I'm still in pain. Like every night I go to bed, I'm in pain. Every night I wake up, it's fucking.
See, it's probably worse breaking a bone than surgery. So surgery, it's like sort of
I didn't choose. I guess I chose my shit.
Yeah,
because I chose to ride and then I fucking crashed. But
yeah, but I feel like broken bones and stuff are like, it's like internal, like it's bad. Like this was just my butt that just had stuff put into it, and the only reason why it's painful is because of the lipo. But that pain went like pretty quickly. Like I stopped taking all my painkillers. Like I've got a pretty high pain threshold.
I think women just do in general.
Yeah, so I stopped taking my painkillers and stuff like my third day, 4th day, and that's pretty much it. I was taking like the oxys just to knock me out to go to bed, but that's pretty much it. I stopped taking them like day 5 or day 6 and didn't take any painkillers for the rest of the time. So it wasn't too bad.
Pretty much just smoked weed.
Yeah,
for me.
I
did like the painkillers in hospital because they can give you the good shit. But
yeah,
after that, I'm so fuck it.
Yeah. I remember thinking that too. My best friend smokes weed, so I'm like, I need some fucking weed, but she lives in Melbourne, so I'm like, fuck, because I couldn't sleep, and I'm like, I just need to get really high, so I fall asleep, but I couldn't do that either. So I was just smashing the oxys.
Yeah, nah, fuck. I've seen too much weird shit go down with fucking painkillers.
Yeah, the oxys. I know why people get addicted to them, because I was like, I was literally smashing 2 before bed, and I'd passed out in like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I was out, and I would wake up and be like, whoa, time travel. It was pretty crazy. Yeah. I mixed it with wine one night too, and that was fucked up.
Oh, dude, it's crazy, but like, it's so weird how you can be so fucked up, and it just feels awesome.
Yeah. I know.
Bizarre,
that's literally what I was going through. So I stopped taking them, I realised, and I stopped taking them like 6 days in or something.
When I crashed, the ambulance come to the track, and because they thought I broke my hip, but like they're like, oh, pelvis injury, like they fucking strap you up, they do the whole deal.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, and I actually smoked a joint after I crashed because I was just like, one of the boys was like, "You go, man," because we didn't think it was that bad at the start. And then I was like, "Fuck yeah, bit of painkillers here."
Yeah.
And then I got to the ambos come, and then he's like, "Okay, so we're gonna give you some fentanyl," and I was like, "Fucking booyah, here we go."
Did they give you the green whistle or anything, or just straight into
just
shit?
Fucking straight fentanyl. I was like, "I just gotta tell you, dude, I just smoked weed," and he's like, "Oh well, probably fucking work even better."
Oh my god.
And I was like, "Sweet."
That's
I was
crazy.
Fucking lit. Dude.
Yeah, I had the green whistle actually when I had lipo. They give you the green whistle because I had lipo on my chin as well, and they give you like the green whistle before they like cut and like because you're awake for that half.
Oh, how did that feel?
It was okay. I was just like too like fucking out of it. Yeah, and I just remember sucking the whistle, and I was like kept having it in my mouth, and the lady's like, "You can let go now." I'm like, "No, I'll keep having it," and she's like, "It's not working. It's all gone." I'm like, "No, I'll keep having it."
I never got along with the whistle.
Really?
Nah.
Apparently, it makes people feel sick or something sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was the best feeling. It literally just felt like, like it was like a better drunk feeling. Like, you know, when you get too drunk, you're like, you're not sure if you're going to spew or like pass out.
Yeah.
It was sort of like that sort of feeling, but you knew that you weren't going to spew or pass out. I was like, this is nice.
Yeah. See, I just feel sick from it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't do anything for my pain. But
Yeah,
then
they
I
said
can
that.
do like morphine, fentanyl, like I can have that shit and I feel completely fine. Like I never get any weirdness from that.
Yeah, they warned me. They were like, it's either going to make you feel like nauseous and stuff and it's not going to work, or like it'll be fine. So she's like, we'll be able to figure that out in like 5 minutes. And yeah, it was good. I was like, I'll have another one. Can I take one home?
That's like, well, I had this kidney surgery and like I'm in the table for the big operation. And the guy's like, "Oh, I got this. I actually don't remember what it was called, but he's like, I got this new drug. Like, can I try it with you? Like, obviously it's like,
Yeah, legal.
yeah,
Legit.
it's not like a fucking, that's a human trial, but he's like, "Oh, you know, like I could give you this, but this is pretty good. It's new." And he gave it to me and he was like, I think he said it should have worked quicker. And I was laying on the table and he's like, "Oh, you should be asleep now." And I was like, "Fuck, this is real good, dude. Like whatever this is." And he's like, "Well, you're about to get more of it." And then he gave me more.
It passed out.
Dead,
Yeah.
gone, dude. But I
Dead.
was just like, holy fuck, that was good.
Yeah, it's crazy what they can give you.
It is fucking crazy what they can give you. But
Yeah.
how much was that Brazilian butt lift surgery?
All up, it cost me like 22.5 grand. Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
kind of a business expense.
it is.
for
Yeah, I
you.
claimed it on tax.
But
Yeah.
like,
Personal appearance.
can you imagine the fucking normal person paying 22 grand for
Yeah,
that?
I know. I remember when I was doing it, I'm like, I could buy like a car or like this is a house deposit or something. But I wasn't spending my only 20 grand. So it's like, it's
Yeah.
in perspective for me. It's like silly, like without sounding like a wanker. But like
No, it
for
is
some
though.
people,
It
it's
is.
20 grand's a lot. But yeah, I was sort of thinking like, oh fuck, like this can buy a car for someone, or like this is a lot of money just to go through this. But yeah, for me, it was worth it. And I'd do it again tomorrow if I could.
Have you had that thing when, like, since you've got this kind of money where you like feel guilty about having that much money?
No.
give a
Nope.
fuck.
Nope. I've been broke before, so it's like I literally will do anything in my power not to. Like I donate. Like I have girls who've like I've had a girl who's on OnlyFans who has like non-profit organizations and stuff, and I've like donated and done things with the money and tried to make like do good. But to be honest, like without sounding completely selfish, like I'll give to someone who like I know, or like with the bushfires, for example, I donated to that and all that sort of stuff. But like other than that, like I think I've worked pretty hard for this money. Like I still feel like I deserve it. I'm investing in like property and all that sort of stuff. And at the moment, like my like biggest goal is just to, I think the biggest fear that I have is like all of it going and having to work like a normal job. And I feel like
Yeah.
my biggest fear is like I peaked too soon. So I'm like in 5 years time when the money wears out, like I don't want to fuck a normal job. Like I don't want to work for somebody, you know
Well,
what I mean?
and you probably don't want to be getting dick down on camera fucking,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, in 20 years
Yeah, exactly.
time.
Like I just want to like be over it and just like retire. So like my biggest thing at the moment is just like to set myself up. So in 5 years time, like all my properties are paid off. I've got income coming from them. So like worst case, like, you know, making money from that. Or I can sell a property and have all the money in the bank and figure out what to do next sort of thing. So yeah, it's like I'm literally like, I call it like my crisis plan. Like I'm literally just trying to make sure that like no matter what happens, like in a couple of years time, if I'm still doing this, I've still got the foundation. But if it all turns to shit, I've got like a backup plan and I've got stuff that I can like fall back on.
You kind of have to, like, because Lana Rhodes is pretty gnarly with that shit.
Who's that? I don't know who that is.
She's like
She a porn star?
Yeah, like
yeah.
the
Actually, I
number.
think I do. Yeah.
She doesn't fuck no more on camera though.
Yeah,
So she's retired and
Yep.
she's still one of the most searched porn stars in the
Yeah,
world.
yep.
And but yeah, now she's just like full business hustle
Yep.
chick. Like
Yeah, and that's sort of what I'm like. I follow a chick who has OnlyFans. I don't think she's like a porn star, but she's done like porn stuff occasionally. And yeah, she's the same thing. She's literally got like 18 houses in Las Vegas and is just like a full blown like hustler, like just renovates houses, buys them, like flips them, sells them or rents them out. And she's just like a machine. And like you look at her page and she just looks like the dumbest bitch ever, but she's actually got like so much more behind her. And that's sort of like what I'm like. I'm sort of like, well, I need to like make bank. And these chicks are like 30, she's got 2 kids, but like she's still like, you know, has OnlyFans and stuff now. But it's sort of like, if I could be doing OnlyFans when I'm 30, like that's fine, but like I need to sort of like make sure that, you know, if anything happens, like I'm not having to be stressed out about money or anything or wasting the money that I've got.
Yeah, and it's sort of like you're at the mercy of the platform too, because are you trying to build like Foreplay Hub, or like you've got something that you're working on with that?
Yeah,
or?
so that's not to compete against OnlyFans. So with Foreplay Hub, my thinking is, and with a lot of people, heaps of platforms or people out there are trying to create platforms like OnlyFans, but OnlyFans is done. Like it's like an Instagram,
Yeah.
it's like a Facebook. Fucking Beyonce sung about it in a song. Like it's legit.
It's the fucking best of block.
Yeah, right.
Everyone knows what it is.
It's there, and someone's probably going to try and copy it. There might be other platforms out there that are better, same as like Facebook and shit. Like someone's going to try and do something better, but it's there. Like people are using it. It's got the users, and there'll be people on there who will go other places and always come back to it. So for me, like realizing that, I'm not trying to copy, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel or anything. Like it's literally just how can I benefit from OnlyFans. So I have a lot of girls messaging me going, oh, can you shout me out? Like, can you help me? I need to promote my page and all that sort of stuff. So it's like, instead of using it on my OnlyFans, I'll create a platform where you can literally scroll through all of these girls' pages, and then you can pretty much just turn around and go, right, this is the girl that I want to see. Click on her page. She has a bio, she has photos.
It's like a Linktree kind of deal.
Correct.
Just go straight.
Yeah, and you can scroll through everything. And then one thing I noticed as well is that a lot of like people and guys, like they've got like fetishes and stuff like that. So I categorize how you search through it. So sort of like a dating app basically, but for OnlyFans. So you can literally put in like your categories and go like blonde hair, tattoos, short, fat, skinny, whatever you want it to be, and then you press search, and then only those girls who best match your categories, like with 3 or more things, get shown up in front of you. And then you literally can click on their profile, see photos uncensored, get a bit of a preview and a feel for it, and then you can just click straight across to their OnlyFans link.
Yeah.
But it's not just for OnlyFans, so you can do your Instagram, you can put, it's basically for anything. So I've got a girl who's on there just trying to promote her Snapchat and her Instagram. She doesn't have any OnlyFans or anything, but she's just trying to be seen to more people.
Yeah.
She's got like 300,000-400,000 people, and she just wants to be seen by more people. And she pays a little bit more money, but the thing is, the benefit for her is that like if people see her, it doesn't cost anything to quickly like her page or something, you know. So she's on there just to be purely to be seen and hopefully be followed by more people. So she's got a little thing saying, you know, follow me and say you found me on a Foreplay Hub, and you know I'll follow you back or something like that. So she's just trying to get more fans and more followers. So it's meant to be like that, but I'm plugging off the OnlyFans because that's what's big at the moment. But eventually it's, you know, if you've got a Snapchat or if you've got Patreon or if there's another platform that comes along like OnlyFans, it's just got links, and you can leave your links to everything, and you can literally just click on the one that you want to follow that person on. So
And then what about like do you censor any of the images?
No,
Like it just doesn't
just a
even matter?
preview. Yeah, it's just a preview. So because that's the thing, like a lot of people, that's how it started. So for me, there was a problem. This is my problem solving. There was all these girls wanting to be shouted out and to be seen, but they're like, how can I be seen? Because I don't have any Instagram followers. I don't want my mum or my dad to know, so I can't post it on my real Instagram. And then they're like, I don't want to post it on Twitter because then people can share it and it can get back to someone who can still see it if you search my name and my workplace and all this sort of stuff. So I want to be seen on a platform where you specifically have to go to find all these people like OnlyFans. So I'm like, well, I don't want to shout you out on my OnlyFans because I've got a lot of followers and I don't like devalues my page. I did it on one chick and everyone hated it anyway, so I'm like, I don't want to do that. So I'm like, you need like a platform where all these girls on OnlyFans can be found. And then all these guys were subscribing to my page and they were like, oh, it's so hard, like, because you don't know what you're going to see when you sign up, and like you're sort of signing up blind and you don't know what you're getting until you sign up. And it's sort of like, well, it's sort of like anything nowadays. Like it's shit because it's like for content people expect like trials and stuff, but like fuck, you sign up to Netflix like you don't really know what you're getting. You sign up to like anything else these days and you don't really know what you're getting. You literally can only watch what they put in front of you, right? It's the same thing, except people like want to be able to know what they're getting before they see it, which is really not like any other platform other than happens to be with this one, and what you get with the porn and everything, because people are fussy and picky. So it's hard, because it's like really there's no other platform. Like you go into McDonald's and they have a new burger released, you don't go, oh, can I taste the burger before I buy it? No, you buy the burger, and if you don't like it, you just don't buy it again, right? So it's sort of like the same thing, but because people think that whatever fucking reason OnlyFans is different, right? They just think that they're going to be able to fucking know or see what they're buying before they actually subscribe. So I was like, well, it'd be good if like you could preview, but you can't preview on OnlyFans. And then I'm like, I'm not giving someone a free link and then they can spend 7 hours of a day scrolling through my page and then unsubscribe anyway. So that's why I was like, why don't I make a website for both sides where the girls can promote their pages and then the guys can filter through and see all these girls, and then before the guys subscribe they can actually see to make sure that it's the right girl for them, or the right person, or the right page for them, and then they can literally just click directly across to OnlyFans and then they can log straight in and subscribe. So that's what it is.
It's crazy it's just crazy the way that you've injected yourself into this industry. Yeah, I never I guess it's like the sex industry or whatever, but I never really thought. But to be honest, it's business is business.
And another thing I don't get, is why, like, I know it's so taboo, but like I've done a lot of research on like the sex industry and porn and all that stuff. Like it's $1 trillion industry or $1 billion industry. I think I read somewhere, like around the world, it's been over trillions of dollars, and it's been around.
Prostitution is the oldest.
It's been around forever. That's what I was about to say. Like my mum and dad used to go to cinemas to watch pornos. Like pornos have been around long before like we were here, and it'll be literally you'll be able to do virtual sex in fucking 10 years probably. So like it's literally like it ain't going anywhere, and I don't understand why more people aren't like involved in it. Like when you think about like why is there not more sex shops? Like why is there not more of this stuff? Like why is there like it's so crazy how it's like sort of hidden in society, but it's a massive industry. So for me it's sort of like, well, that's why I know OnlyFans isn't going anywhere, because unfortunately OnlyFans say that they don't like the fact that people are using their platform for like but they're making the money.
Yeah, they do.
And it's like, well, because of the platform it's not going anywhere, and then sex and all of this stuff that people ask for, demand for and want isn't going anywhere, so why not like just try and tap into it? So that's why I've sort of looked and did the Foreplay Hub thing, because it's like even if it's not for OnlyFans, it's just a good way, like, you know, for platforms to promote other stuff. But then OnlyFans, I just know that it'll probably be good for promoting OnlyFans because it's not going anywhere, and more people are using OnlyFans and more people want to find OnlyFans and make more money.
Yeah, I mean it is weird that people have like that sexual taboo, you know.
Yeah,
like I even always think about like how you'd get in. Well, I mean, fuck, it's just different for everybody. Like I've been in houses with dudes where they just jack off with the fucking door open, watch porn, they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, some guys don't care.
You know, some dudes don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And then some people just like you can make a joke about it and you can see them visibly become uncomfortable. And then I got friends where like they like barely to even talk dirty to their missus. I just think sex in general is just still it's so developed in our mind in terms of like our fantasies and in terms of what we want, and it's just so underdeveloped in the real world. Yeah,
like my biggest thing has, ever since I've been like in it, has been like telling people what I do. And like when I first started doing it, I just told people like I was a content creator or I was like an influencer or whatever, because I was like struggling to like tell people what I did. And then eventually like I was just like, oh fuck it, I'll just like rock it, because when you think about it, like any porn star that's been successful, they're all killing it, like, or have killed it before, successful. Like heaps of people have like been, or people know like successful strippers or like, you know, prostitutes that have made bank and or something like that. Exactly. And people know that they make money doing it. And it's not like when the money side of it's involved, it's like you have a shift of thinking, like you don't think like, oh, what the fuck.
Yeah,
like,
you're not a slut anymore.
Yeah, exactly,
you're a fucking
right?
businesswoman.
Correct.
If you're like in that top 1%.
Yeah, and so I feel like when I sort of got there, I was like, oh fuck, like I'll just start, you know, like I'll just tell people like I'm an adult content creator. And so I just started saying that to people, and like it's funny to see everyone's reactions. And it's like when I was like trying to buy houses and stuff like through my company and everything, I'm like, to the banks are like, oh, they're going to know what you want to do, like what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I'm an adult content creator, I make adult films. And they're like, well, we can't put that on the application. And I'm like, why?
It's just a bit of fucking paper.
I'm like, why? And they're like, we can't put that. And I'm like, well, what are you going to say? And they're like, well, can you think of something else? And I'm like, well, that's all I do. And they're like, oh yeah, but what about like your social media and whatever? And I'm like, just like, I don't know. I was like, well, just tell them like, oh, do you want to put porn star? And they're like, we can't put that. So the banks and stuff are real, like, you know, because you've probably got like, you know, Carol upstairs who's a prude, you know, reading the applications, who's scared, you know, to read stuff like that. So there's some areas where it's like real, like you can't do it. But then like I've told other people, like I've got a cleaner and, you know, she's like, what do you do? Like you're home all the time. Like you've always got like, because I got like props and like take things, not props as in like dildos, but like I always get like photos taken. So I might have like a new chair, or like I've always got things in the house and I'm moving stuff around, like mirrors and stuff like that, just for angles and videos and stuff. So she's like, what do you do like with you? So I'm like, oh, I do adult film, like I create adult content. She's like, oh, no way. She's like, I used to clean someone's house just up the road who used to own a brothel, and she used to share the room with like 3 other girls, and like just got into a chat about it and she wasn't bothered by it at all. And then there's been some other people like I'm just in conversation, they're like, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I'm on OnlyFans, I create like adult films. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, that's right, like you heard me. And they're like, well, like porn? And I'm like, well, depends how you look at it. I'm like, I don't classify it porn because it's not like a professional, you know, film. I said it's amateur. And they're like, oh, is that your job? And they get like real like weird about it. I'm like, yeah, that's my job. And like, don't fucking freak out, like you've had sex before. Yeah. I'm like, no, why are you freaking out? Like I'm sure you've had sex before, like chill the fuck out. And people get like real weird about it, but it's like, I don't know, I don't really care. Like I don't try and hide the fact that like I do what I do. Like why? I think hiding it is probably why the industry is like probably not as like spoken about as what it is now anyway. So it's like I just rock it, and I don't think it like devalues me, because like I don't know, like I think when I turn around and say like I do adult film, it's not like I'm like sitting on a dick in the middle of a shopping center, like, you know, I'm not like an overly horny person, or like I'm not walking around with dildos in my purse, like, you know, just what people probably think. So it's like when I tell people, they're shocked.
When that like, let's say you are walking around with dildos in your purse and you just fucking, you know, in that, like, that's your level. That's fucking fine too. Like the porn chicks that I know, man. Yes. Like the porn chicks that I know in America would just be like, man, a regular dude just won't fuck me the way I want to be fucked. Yeah. And I'm like, fair. Yeah. Fair enough. Like they love to go on set and just get like fucked by like professional dudes that can professionionally fuck you. Yeah. They can just fuck and fuck and fuck. They got these giant dicks. They do all the shit that they want done to them. Yeah. And it's like, even, you know, you get a chick that's like, oh, choke me. Most dudes won't even fucking choke a chick properly in the way that they want it. And it's like, who should decide whether it's right or wrong that person wants that? And like these chicks, they're just like, man, it's awesome. I just can't get that sex from a regular person. And I think most people think though that that's like, that's not just like porn stars and stuff. Like I know a lot of girls who don't do what I do, and they're like a lot more open about that sort of shit than what I am. So it's all like in perspective. Like, fuck, I know some girls who like I went to school with and stuff, and they're literally like the horniest people ever, and they just like work at Coles or Woolies or work at like a clothes shop, and they're like fucking their boss in the back room. Like it's just depends. Like you're not a porn star, but you're acting like one. Like calm down. So it's like it just really depends. And I think people do though. They think that like, I don't know, I think people, when they think porn star, they just think like someone completely like different. I don't label myself a porn star, but it generally seems to be getting the title because it's, I guess, that. But a lot of people definitely have a vision of like, everyone's watched porn, I think, too. So that's probably why, like, I think they just think like this person that they've watched on like Pornhub is going to be like walking into their like bank, for example, going, I'm a porn star, give me a loan. And that's probably what they think that they're going to be doing. But it's like, they do forget that they're like a normal person and they have like a normal life. Well, hey, we just did 3 hours. Oh, cool. We're done. I really, really appreciate you coming on. It was fucking cool to hear your story. Yeah, thank you. And you're a nice person. You're a very cool, nice person. Thanks. And I think that if any of the haters have got shit to say, they should just listen to you talk about what you do for a living. And it's, it's fucking cool. Yeah, thank you. And excited to see the fucking mogul life that you keep living. Yeah, stay tuned. Hopefully it can be big and better than what it is now. Perfect. Well, yeah, thanks again. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks.